This is Joan. She works in HR and has the same routine every single day, searching through CVs, answering calls, and searching online for the dream contractor. And after all that, she still has 10 jobs to fill. Well, there's a great solution, TechFinder. It allows Joan to connect directly with IT contractors for her location, viewing their daily rates and CVs, enabling calls, and signing contracts, and it has saved a fortune. Simply sign up, choose your subscription plan, and you have access to over 50,000 candidates immediately. Join TechFinder today and connect with thousands of technology contractors.
The choices we make define who we are. Like the decision many of us have made to switch to Toyota Hybrid, to a smooth, more economical drive. Working towards a cleaner, brighter future for ourselves and for our children. Because the world we want to live in should be made better by the car we choose to drive. Toyota, built for a better world.
Worried about your next contract opportunity? Tired of wasting time online searching for the right one? Well, let the opportunities find you. Use TechFinder. It's a free service that connects you directly with companies that match your skills and helps you plan ahead for upcoming contract opportunities. It's easy to use. Simply upload your CV, create your profile, and select when you're available. Take the pain out of searching and be found by thousands of companies globally in your location and at your daily rates in real time. Join TechFinder today. Get connected and be found. Available on all app stores and at techfinder.com.
Good afternoon and welcome to a very sunny Malahide Cricket Club for this, the third match of the GS Holding International T20 Tri-Series. Today it's Scotland against the hosts Ireland. And we have a glorious scene set today and the beautiful surroundings in Malahide in North County Dublin. What striking we saw yesterday from Kyle Coetzer And the record breaker, George Munsey, making a Scottish record, 127 not out, just the second T20 international century from a Scottish batsman. But we saw a good fight from the Dutch as well. Peter Seeler, the Dutch captain, making a Dutch record, 96 not out. But today it's all about the hosts, Ireland. This new, young, exciting, dynamic T20 side that they have. Can they take on the might of Scotland, the power hitting that Scotland possess? A little earlier, we had John Kenny out for the toss. He was with the two captains, Gary Wilson, and of course Kyle Coates. Let's find out what happened.
Well, what a glorious afternoon. Yes, holding T20I Tri-Series Match 3. It's Ireland against Scotland. Big winners against the Netherlands yesterday. And I have Jerry Pienaar, who's our match referee, and the two captains, Kyle Coates of Scotland and Gary Wilson of Ireland. Now, Ireland are the home team, so Gary has the coin. If you'd do the toss. Heads is the call.
And a head it is.
Head it is. So, Scotland. Kyle, you've won the toss. What have you decided to do?
Well, we're going to have a bat this morning.
Okay. The reasons for that be? This afternoon, of course, yes. The reasons for that?
We felt it was a pretty good pitch yesterday, and it still looks a good pitch today. Our experience of this ground is the surfaces are pretty good, and we feel after yesterday we should try and follow that up again.
Sure. It's funny enough, actually, you would have bowled yesterday, wouldn't you? But I suppose with the overhead inclement conditions, that would have been the reason why yesterday.
Yeah, that would have been the reason yesterday. Look, either way, you have to perform solidly and better than the opposition, but like I said, the pitch looks pretty good. There's no demons in it, and we're just looking for another good performance today.
Sure. And your team, any changes from yesterday?
Yeah, we have Matthew Cross coming in with the gloves instead of Craig Wallace, and we have Hamza Tahir coming in change of Adrian Neal.
Okay, well, best of luck today. Thanks, Kyle.
All right.
Gary, if a quick word with you, if you'd won the toss, what would you have done?
We probably would have had a bat. I wasn't 100% decided, really. I think it's whoever's going to be play the best cricket is going to win the game.
Mm-hmm. First match, obviously, because the match on Sunday was abandoned, so you've obviously got a new team to announce today, and I believe a couple of debutants.
A couple of debutants, yeah. Harry Tector comes in for his debut, David Delaney for his debut as well. So exciting day for those guys. Proud day, obviously, representing your country for the first time, and all the boys will get around them.
Sure. Heard that Paul Sterling may be a problem. Is he starting today?
You've got your ear to the ground, don't you? And, it's just a little niggle. He'll be fine, but no point in risking him at this stage.
Okay, thanks very much, Gary. That's Gary Wilson, the Irish captain. So Scotland have won the toss out here in the middle, and they will bat.
Yeah, no real surprise in glorious sunshine that the Scottish captain Kyle Coates are deciding to bat first, and the reason, as he said, because they have a superb wicket. You can see the two sides both out for the national anthems. Let's hear the Scottish one first.
Can we please remain upstanding for
Ireland's
Ireland's call?
The two anthems sung with great vigour from both sides. Proud Celtic countries, these, Ireland and Scotland. Flower of Scotland blaring out before Ireland's call. And a nice crowd starting to come in. And as you can see on your screen there, that's the wicket. That is the pitch that we played on yesterday. Record-breaking totals here in Malahide. The highest scoring T20 international ever on Irish soil. As George Munsey and Kyle Coates led the way for Scotland before the Netherlands really made a good fist of the chase. They were never quite in the game as a contest, but Peter Seeler will be pleased with his Dutch record, 96. But today, all eyes on the hosts. Andrew Leonard here, bringing these pictures today for Cricket Ireland TV with HBV Studios. And delighted to report it's actually nice and warm for the first time this week in Malahide. And I'm joined to my left for the first time this week by Garfield Harrison. And Garfield, I even heard you singing along to Ireland's call there in the box.
Yeah, it's very emotional. You know, Ireland's call, it really has hit home now for national anthem for both the cricket and the rugby teams, and a lot of people singing it very loudly there, which is fantastic.
Let's take a look at the two sides that have been picked today. A couple of changes for Scotland. Craig Wallace and Adrian Neal go out of the starting 11, and in come Matthew Cross and Hamza Tahir. Hamza Tahir actually is going to have his T20 international debut, so special day for him. Let's take a look at the Irish team as well here, Garfield, because two debutants for Ireland, David Delaney and Harry Tector. What a day it is for them.
Really looking forward to seeing David Delaney. We've heard a lot about him, seen wee clips of him, and really looking forward to seeing him live. He is a real prospect. Bowls at that sort of in around the 90-mile-an-hour mark when he gets it right. So hopefully today it's nice and sunny. The weather is perfect for cricket today. And in September, middle of September, Dublin, you can't beat it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day here, and hopefully we're going to have this weather set fair. We did have one match abandoned at the start of the week between Ireland and the Netherlands on Sunday with a lot of rain coming down, but we got a full T20I in yesterday. I'm going to say almost certainly we'll have a full T20I today. Never say never in Ireland, Garfield, as you know. Going to be Mark Adair with the new ball from the Dublin Road end. And I just wonder, will we see David Delaney from the far end? That was the end he was warming up from, and the speed he gets up, the thud into the bowling coach's Rob Castle's mitt earlier. It's going to be some X Factor to watch, but he's got some X Factor to bowl to. George Munsey, the man in form, the now Scottish record holder, opening the batting with the Scottish captain. That's Kyle Coates. Here we go. Time for game 3.
Yes, hopefully that George Munsey won't just find the bowling as friendly today, maybe as he found it to his liking yesterday. What an innings. 127 not out off 56 balls, Andrew. 56 balls. That's over 2 runs a ball.
And the most remarkable thing about it, Garfield, was he was 4 runs off 8 deliveries, and he just all of a sudden started to go ballistic. The pyrotechnics were out. But we can see that the Irish bowlers, they were watching the game yesterday on the stream, spoke to quite a few of them this morning. They're going to have their plans. I think they'll try and hide the ball outside the off stump. They don't want to allow the access that George Munsey loves on the leg side and down the ground.
Yeah, I think what happened yesterday was the Dutch bowlers, they give him a lot of width. And, in this format of the game, you love width because you can then get your hands right through the ball and use your strength to clear the boundaries. And it's nice to see there the fine leg up in the circle, saving 1. And we've also got a slip and a third man on the offside, a fairly orthodox field with the man out on the pull on the leg side boundary.
The rarest of starts given yesterday's scenes. 3 dots to start the innings. We're playing on the same pitch as yesterday. Philip Frost has a reputation for creating really good cricketing wickets, and he did that his whole career over in Taunton, where he was the groundsman at Somerset, and he's been in place here now for the best part of a decade in the beautiful surrounds of the village in North County Dublin, Malahide. 4 dots to start. Really good tight stuff from Adair. Tell us about Mark Adair, Garfield. He must be a man you know a lot about, being from the same neck of the woods.
Very exciting prospect, Mark Adair. I think he's announced himself this summer on the international stage. Done fantastically well at Lord's, and absolutely delighted to see that Cricket Ireland have offered him a central contract, which is more than deserved. hopefully now he'll push on and show us what he can do.
Down the leg side, still no runs off the bat. That one will be signalled wide by standing umpire Alan Neal, joined by Rizwan Akram from the Netherlands at square leg today. The most remarkable thing about Mark Adair, he wasn't even in the initial squad of 14 for the first home international of the summer against England. He only got in due to an injury to Stuart Thompson. He impressed so much, he came in and he hasn't been out of the side since.
That's it. You do, Andrew. You need a bit of luck, and just the cards fell well for him on that occasion.
Here's the first runs of the day, and it's going to be a boundary. We saw a lot of this from Munsey yesterday, but not particularly in that region. He's opened up the offside, beats the dive, a backward point. Harry Tector on debut. No chance for him. 4 runs to the total.
Yes, just a wee bit of width there from Mark Adair that gives Munsey a wee bit of room to move his hands and cut that ball to the boundary for 4s. I mean, you were talking earlier on about the Malahide groundsman, Philip Frost. Honest to goodness, for me yesterday, he was the man of the match. To get this ground looking so well on that pitch, what a great couple of days he's had.
Leading edge, but the man at long on is out. There's going to be time for just a single. So Munsey will keep the strike. Coates yet to face. End of the first over. A good tight one for Mark Adair. 6 runs coming from it, 6 for none.
Great first over from Mark Adair. What impressed me there with that over is the length that he bowled, Andrew. You know, he wasn't too full. He wasn't too short. It was about waist height. Everything was coming through about then. And then he slipped in the slower ball. And one thing I noticed yesterday, there was hardly any slower balls from the Dutch bowling attack. And, you know, you have to mix it up in this format of the game. And great first over there from Mark Adair.
Yeah, they looked a little bereft of plans, didn't they? The Dutch bowlers. It was almost as though they didn't quite know the power-hitting combination that they were going to bowl to at the top of the Scottish order. But in associate cricket, these are probably 2 of the leading batsmen that there are, Kyle Coates and George Munsey. And a little bit of perhaps a surprise. We're going to see Stuart Thompson take the new ball from the Malahide Castle end, operating in and around medium pace, perhaps holding back David Delaney to after the power play when he's got a little bit more protection.
That's a very smart move if that's what happens from Gary Wilson. And, you got to protect the lad on debut, and he'll be a wee bit nervous, I'm sure. So hopefully Stuart Thompson here will do a good job first over.
Onto the hip of George Munsey, worked into the leg side. 2 fielders allowed outside the 30-yard circle at this stage of the game. The power play, the first 6 overs of the innings, those 2 fielders for the left-hander were deep square leg and fine leg, straight out to Kevin O'Brien. That deep square leg, you can see Rob Castle, the Irish bowling coach, really has these Irish bowlers well drilled as to what they are supposed to be doing.
I would imagine that these guys have talked this through and through and through. They have got a plan, and got a plan for every ball. It's not just you need a plan for the over. You need a plan for every ball, and you got to stick to the plan and back yourself. Whether it's a full ball, short of a length, slower ball, whatever. You got to have a plan for every ball, and the captain needs to know what your plan is. That's the other thing that needs to happen. Your skipper needs to know, and Gary Wilson, he's behind the stumps there, so he will know exactly what's going on, and very experienced campaigner now, Gary. So I'm sure all bases are covered at the minute. It's a great start for Ireland so far.
Kyle Coates' first delivery. The dot, you can see Coates a little bit early in his innings. He tends to force the ball off the front foot. He got caught doing that a little bit during his innings, but when he got in, my lord, some of the striking we saw from him, 1-6 in particular, went over not just the boundary here, but the retaining fence up into the Malahide demesnes. It was outstanding.
That's why I parked my car well away from the ground today, Andrew, because I seen what was going on yesterday, and I said I'll keep my car well out of the way here.
Down the leg side, that will be signalled wide by Rizwan Akram from the Netherlands. The 3-man umpiring team here this week: Alan Neal from the north of Ireland, Rizwan Akram from the Netherlands, and the third umpire today is David McLean from Scotland. And just one little bit of news to bring you: George Dockrell, who's left out of the starting 11 today, is actually on the field at short third man. I think he's come on for David Delaney, maybe just getting a bit of strapping or something on his T20 international debut.
Another dot ball, Andrew. This is a great start from Ireland, and fielding look very energetic in the field. This is a young Irish side, and this game, this format, you need to be good in the field. It's a young man's game now, and so it's also a power game. So you gotta be a brilliant fielding side, and this is a great start for Ireland.
Yeah, Gary Wilson has described this as the most exciting Irish side in over a decade. Nicely driven by Kyle Coates, beats the dive of Lorcan Tucker at extra cover, and there's nothing that Kevin O'Brien can do about that. Out is the offside sweeper. Glorious shot from the Scottish skipper.
Beautiful shot from Kyle Coates. Really hits that ball on the up, which is not easy to do. Hits it all the way along the ground, beats the fielder, and this outfield is absolutely lightning. You beat the fielder here, it's 4 runs all day long.
Yeah, and as you were saying, what an amazing job from Philip Frost, because the scale of rain we had, not only all day Sunday, which led to the abandonment of Ireland versus the Netherlands, but overnight on the Sunday night, right until about 8 a.m. Monday morning. Good comeback from Thompson, the perfect Yorker. We saw those being hit yesterday, right into the block hole. It's the only way to stop these two Scots, perhaps.
Again, yesterday, how many Yorkers did we see yesterday from the Dutch bowlers? I hardly seen any.
It's really just Fred Klassen, the tall left armour, that did really well to hit them in his final over.
Yeah.
He actually bowled 6 in a row at one point, but he also bowled 2 no balls with his back foot problems coming around the wicket. It wasn't a day that Dutch bowlers will be wanting to remember, Garfield. Powerfully hit down the ground. Big Boyd Rankin at mid-on, gets down well.
That's a good stop from Boyd Rankin. Again, Boyd, good man in the field as well. Nothing much will get past his long arms.
End of the second over. It's 13 for none. So, given the fireworks of yesterday, perhaps a bit of a slow start from Scotland, but in the context of a normal T20I, 13 for none, not a bad start. But we're going to see Mark Adair continuing. One of the things I feel might have been frustrating for some of the Dutch fans yesterday, there was a lot of bowling changes. I think they had 17 or 18 in the course of 20 overs. They're going to keep Mark Adair on here now with the new ball.
Well, this is a key part of the game, Andrew, these first 6 overs, because this power play, you're only allowed 2 fielders out, as everyone knows now in this format. So you need your experienced bowlers who know what they're doing to bowl these 6 overs. So invariably, it's your better bowlers are asked to bowl these awkward overs. So far, so good. It's just over 6 runs and over. That's a perfect start.
Hit down the ground. That's a glorious shot from Kyle Coates. Hasn't tried to overhit it. Straight down the ground, a couple of bounces and into the boundary boards for 4.
Yes, just a wee bit fuller there from Mark Adair, and he's paid the price. He's able to swing his arms, but listen, that's a great shot straight back over the bowler's head. There's never any fielders back over the bowler's head. 4 runs, lovely shot.
Yeah, Adair guilty of being a little bit too full. Really right in the slot for Kyle Coates. Hit powerfully into the offside. There is a fielder right there. Stuart Thompson picks up well. David Delaney is back onto the field. I suspect probably just a little bit of strapping or something from the Irish physio. What's it like making your Irish debut, Garfield?
Well,
how nervous were you?
Yeah, he maybe had to go to the gents actually. Just the nerves are getting the better of him. But yes, making your debut, it's a big day, and look, we'll just hope that he'll settle in quickly. And let's not put too much expectation onto him today, because your first game, it takes you a wee while to settle in the cricket at this level, because it's a step up from the interprovincial cricket that he's been playing and the club cricket that he's playing. So let's not put too much pressure on him.
Down the leg side again, this left-hand, right-hand combination working for Scotland. Wide. Talk to me a little bit about the Irish squad, Garfield. Have you ever seen such strength and depth in the game? You think about some of the names that aren't here: Tyrone Kane, Barry McCarthy, Josh Little, who took 4 wickets on this very ground against England. Yeah. They're not even in the squad of 15.
I'm really surprised that Josh Little isn't here, and Barry McCarthy. I seen them a few weeks ago at the Hills, and really impressed. So it's great to see it, and hopefully it'll push these guys on to a very high level because there's somebody in the wings waiting to take their place.
Glorious shot from George Munsey, showing that he's not all about power, he's also a touch player. Strain onto the pads, but the classic leg glance. And because the man on the leg side boundary is very straight at a deep mid wicket, as soon as it beats David Delaney in the ring, it's always going to be 4 runs.
Well, what Munsey's done there, Andrew, he's gone across his stumps. So he has. He's obviously seen the gap there, and he's gone across his stumps, and he's manoeuvred the ball into the gap. Good piece of batting.
Slower ball, and that's punished by Munsey. The tennis ball bounce we saw a little bit in the innings yesterday. It was a slower, short delivery, but too good for a man in Munsey's, too easy for a man in Munsey's form. Hooked away for 4 more.
Listen, it's good thinking from Mark Adair to try and mix it up. Just unfortunately, it didn't work out. A slower ball bouncer is a good ball in this format, but again, it was the direction just wasn't quite right. It was easy for Kyle Coetzee to knock it away for 4.
Yeah, George Munsey, in fact, and of course, as soon as you give him anything on his pads or on the leg side, he just hammers it away. Tighter line this time, tucks up Munsey. 3 4s in the over. This tight start from Ireland starting to get away from them.
Well, again, you know, the wicket, the pitch today, it seems to be exactly the same as yesterday. The ball's coming through lovely. It's absolutely perfect for batting on, and it's a bit of a bowler's graveyard as we seen yesterday. And you know, I don't expect it to be much different today, although I do anticipate that the Irish bowlers will have better plans in place than maybe the Dutch bowlers yesterday.
Yeah, and those plans have just changed slightly because deep mid wicket's coming in and we've got deep cover going out. Fuller hammered into the offside. Stuart Thompson's going to have work to do at cover. He picks up cleanly. The throw comes in, but Munsey's quick between the wickets. Finds a single off the final ball of the over again. Scotland moved to 28 for none after 3.
I think after yesterday's knock, George Munsey's a good counter. He knows how to get the 6. And he fancies some more of it on this pitch. It's going to be you know, a great battle between these two sides.
Yeah, if you're just joining us for the first time today, this is the GS Holding T20 International Tri-Series between Ireland, Scotland and the Netherlands. Today it's the hosts Ireland against Scotland in Game 3. And we're just going to take a very quick look at the points table if we can, because Ireland versus the Netherlands on Sunday was washed out. So what that means, Garfield, is they got 2 points each. But Scotland, with that incredible win, the record-breaking win over the Dutch yesterday, they got 4 points for their victory. So they've moved to the top of the table.
Yes, at the minute it's advantage Scotland. They got a full game in yesterday. Ireland, this is Ireland's first game. So yeah, they'll be a wee bit sharper today.
Boyd Rankin into the attack now from the Malahide Castle end. Big tall man from the northwest. Remarkably not the tallest man on show this week because he's been outgrown perhaps by Adrian Neil, 6'9", the Scotsman who we saw bowl yesterday, left out of the starting 11 for Scotland today though.
Yes, Boyd Rankin, a very experienced campaigner. I don't expect Boyd to pitch the ball up too much unless it's a Yorker.
That's a glorious shot.
Oh,
he rocks back, opens the face, uses the pace of Boyd Rankin, and with third man in the circle, it's always going to be 4 here. Incredible batting from George Munsey. What a talent this man is.
That's just a spectacular cricket shot. He's leant back, give himself a wee bit of room, and just clipped it over the top of where the slips would be normally standing, and the short third man for 4. Super piece of batting. Not much the bowler has done wrong there, and but he's got punished nevertheless.
Pulled into the deep. There's protection out there. That's Kevin O'Brien, Ireland's record cap holder. So just be a single, bring Kyle Coetzee back onto strike. You can see why this is such an effective opening partnership for Scotland. Not just the left hand, right hand, but the two batsmen, their games complement each other really well.
Well, two very attacking batsmen, experienced batsmen, obviously in good form after yesterday as well. That helps. And Andrew, I agree with you. The right hand, left hand combination really does mix the bowler's head up, and it mixes his lines up. So it's a lot more difficult when you've got a right hand, left hand.
Nicely bowled by Boyd Rankin. That's his natural length. It's a back of a length. It's a very hard length, and it's the one that we saw Alistair Evans and indeed Adrian Neil bowl really effectively for Scotland yesterday.
That's a perfect length for this time of the game. It's hard to get that away, and great piece of bowling by Boyd Rankin. Now, can he follow that up with another dot ball?
Also no width to work with, of course, for Kyle Coates. Bowled him. That's absolutely brilliant from Boyd Rankin. He gives it the big celebration straight through the attempted swipe of Kyle Coates, and the MBE has got to go for 10.
Yes, he's missed a beautiful piece of bowling. It's coming back at him a wee bit off the pitch, and a great piece of bowling by Boyd Rankin. It's the first one he's actually bowled in his 5 balls so far that would have hit the stumps. And maybe, Kyle Coates was expecting another short one to knock away, but he's pitched it up and come back in to the right-hander and knocked the middle stump.
Yeah, really beautifully bowled by Boyd Rankin, showing that there is a little bit of seam movement on this pitch if you get it right. And that one's nipped back in. It's castled straight into middle stump. And Boyd Rankin showing just what a brilliant performer he is for Ireland, even in the T20I format.
Yes, that's a big wicket for Ireland, because the two guys from yesterday had a great long stand, and the rest of the Scottish team didn't get much batting. So maybe they will be a wee bit rusty, and it's great to open up that opening partnership, get with a really good piece of bowling by Boyd Rankin.
Yeah, and it was the double act as well, the short ball to soften up the Scottish captain, and really tucked him up, had him on the hop, and follows it up with a good length delivery, which means that it will bring the new man to the crease for Scotland at number 3, Callum MacLeod. Such a remarkable 18 months or so that Callum MacLeod has had in Scotland colours. And he's going to get underway immediately. He's going to push hard and try and get back for 2, get Munsey back onto strike. He will. He's off the mark with 2 runs. End of the 4th over. Scotland are 35 for 1. Going to see a change in bowling now from the Dublin Road end, as Stuart Thompson will switch ends. He'll replace Mark Adair, who was a little bit costly in his 2nd over. And Stuart Thompson will have the challenge of George Munsey to bowl to.
Yes, Gary Wilson, the Irish captain, will have plans in his head. He would have planned this all out before the game started. Certainly these first 5, 6, 7 overs, he would have a good idea who's going to be bowling when and where.
Down the leg side, and that's going to be signalled wide again. I suppose those best laid plans can go awry, though. What sort of plans did the Dutch have yesterday?
The Dutch didn't have any plans yesterday. I think that's what went wrong for them. But they'll learn from that, and you got to remember that Dutch side. There's 4 guys missing from that side, so that's not their best side on the pitch yesterday. So they'll improve.
Powered down the ground. They're the fireworks that we came to expect from George Munsey yesterday. It's going to bounce just inside the rope. Looked like it was going all the way for 6, but a glorious shot for 4.
Lovely shot there. Just a wee bit full again. But George Munsey's given himself a wee bit of room. He's freed his arms. He's realised that there's no fielders back on the boundary straight, and a very good shot for 4 runs.
Short ball. It's come off the glove, and it was nearly half a chance for the captain, Gary Wilson, behind the stumps. He dived like a goalkeeper to his right, but he couldn't lay a glove on it. The end result's going to be a boundary 4.
Yes, again, a good bit of bowling here, and he's banged it in short, taking the batsman by surprise. Gary Wilson almost pushes it round the post in the top corner, but unfortunately he doesn't get a glove on it, and it's gone for 4.
That would have been a really spectacular catch. Naturally, as a wicket keeper, you're to a left-hander when the bowler's coming over the wicket, you're well outside the off stump. Yeah, good Thompson back on a good length. You can see with Munsey, the follow-through that he has when he bats. He was a scratch golfer. He even contemplated going towards golf at one point. There's shades of a driver in it when he powers it down the ground.
Well, that's it. I mean, if you watched him, you watched him yesterday, it was almost like his stance was almost like a baseball setup. He was just standing there with the front leg out of the way, and he was going to hit it wherever the ball tended to be. Good bowling.
Good from Thompson, managing to tuck up Munsey, not allow him to free his arms. And again, you can see that's a plan. They're either going wide outside the off stump or tucking him up and trying to cramp him for room.
Well, at this format, you're looking for width so that you can swing your arms through, and if you can keep him tucked up, and that's difficult to do when he's moving around the crease as well. It's very difficult. You have to keep your eye on him and try and follow him, but it's a difficult thing to do. But a really good comeback there from Stuart Thompson.
Hit into the leg side. That's an outstanding shot. There's two men in the deep on the leg side, but that splits them, and we're going to have the first maximum of the day. We've had to wait until the 5th over, but that's 6 runs.
Again, a lovely shot. He's just timed that beautifully. Didn't try and hit it too hard, and it's just a flick. It's just a flick. It's like a wee wedge. He's just flicked it, and it's gone for 6. Super piece of batting, and nothing much wrong with the ball, really.
127 not out yesterday. George Munsey is looking ominous right now. 34 not out already off just 19 deliveries.
Yeah, it's a fantastic pitch to bat on. So, I mean, whatever Scotland manage, Ireland has a good chance of getting it.
Powered into the deep. There's a man at mid-on. It's Shane Getgate. He takes the catch. The short ball works for Stuart Thompson. Just as we wondered, was Munsey going to go big again? He's got to go for 34.
What a big wicket that is for Ireland. That really opens up the game. Super catch there, right on the edge of the circle, and unorthodox shot, but he was trying to hit it over the fielder, but he got it too low and straight to mid-on, who's fielding on the edge of the circle. Comfortable catch.
Yeah, brave bowling and brave captaincy from Gary Wilson to keep mid-on up in the circle. We often saw long on back, but mid-on stayed up. That was Shane Getgate. There was pressure on that catch, and he took it well.
Good bit of captaincy, because the bowler, he knows his bowler. He's got plans. The bowler's not going to pitch the ball up, so that's why he can bring the mid-on up and the mid-off up and have his fielders square the wicket on the boundary. So good piece of captaincy, good piece of bowling, good catch. Well done, Ireland.
The aggression will continue from Scotland because it's Michael Leask to the crease, who's known as a big hitter. And at the end of the 5th over, with Scotland 50 for 2, we'll have the first change in the commentary box. I'll pass over to John Kenny, who'll be joined by Alan Lewis.
That's the breakthrough they needed, really. These two plundered the Netherlands attack yesterday, thanks to Andrew and also to Garfield for their contribution in the first 5 overs. 200 they made against the Netherlands yesterday. Might expose a soft underbelly in the Scottish batting. Obviously Ireland, Alan Lewis will be hoping that's the case.
Well, I think it's been largely good from Ireland here this morning. I suppose the one poor point is the number of wide deliveries that have been bowled, but they'll certainly compensate that for 2 big wickets, Coetzee and now Munsey. And I would agree with Andrew Leonard, good captaincy from Gary Wilson, making sure mid-on was in the circle. So Gareth Delaney comes in now with his leg spin.
That's the first time we've seen him from the Malahide road end. Munsey gone in the previous over for 34, caught Getka, bowled Thompson. Rankin getting the first wicket to fall of Kyle Coetzee, the Scotland captain, for 20. Just avoids the umpire. It's going to be a single to the total. Callum MacLeod and Michael Leask at the crease now. Leask made naught. Yes, out first ball indeed. It's the first time we've seen MacLeod batting. And you gave out a couple of debuts. There was a couple of debuts today, but you gave a cap to Harry Tector.
Yeah, very pleasant. I've known Harry all his life, really, and I've seen his progress over the years at youth level right through to where he is today. And again, quite interestingly, John, there's a real excitement about this team, and you can see a general level of liveliness that we haven't seen in T20 cricket. You and I have covered a lot of T20 cricket around the world with this Irish team, and there's a sprightliness about them, a buzz, which is great to see.
Well, Ireland do add this fumble. They should easily walk through for a single market there, letting the ball get past him. But yeah, in terms of the world rankings, Pakistan, England, South Africa, they're 1, 2, 3. Scotland are at 12, Ireland are at 15. We have the World T20 qualifiers coming up later on in the year. And Ireland really need to improve that rating because they've really tumbled down the T20 rankings, haven't they?
Well, there's no doubt about that, and again, that's something that's disappointed us. Obviously, we had Dharmasala, we've had a number of these T20s where we've just been off the pace, and I think when you look at Ireland now, that youthful energy, Delaney bowling here, new into the side, Harry Tector, and of course his cousin David Delaney. Again, emphasising perhaps a wee bit of the family nature. It was quite interesting and intriguing as we get to the end of the over, but I'll come back to that later.
Scotland 53 for 2 at the end of 6. End of the power play, and 53 for 2 at the end of 6. The batsmen out, George Munsey and Kyle Kurtzer, the openers, and again this rotation of ends continues. Boyd Rankin, who got the wicket of Kyle Kurtzer, the first one to fall for 20, now switching to the Dublin road end. And a feature of T20 cricket really is this rotation of ends, just to try to vary things up.
Yeah, it's a common theme now. Certainly you can go in one over spells throughout a T20 international, and Boyd Rankin indeed, as you say, John, now coming from the Dublin road end.
First ball will be a wide.
Again, that probably the only disappointing feature in a power play that largely Ireland will be happier in the sense that they've taken 2 wickets, John. 2 big players for Scotland, but this is another one at the crease now. Callum MacLeod, of course, on the back of that fantastic 156 against England last year. Lovely touch player, and that exemplified there by Callum MacLeod. Great sweeper of the ball. But just going back to this Irish team, John, obviously it's quite interesting from the point of view I look around. I've played with and against a number of the fathers of the players, and it emphasises in a sense the family nature that drives a lot of what cricket means to people in Ireland. And it's nice to see a very decent sprinkling of people here to support on a beautiful day in Malahide. Who says we can't play cricket in September, John?
Well, it's high in the air, and there's 2 fielders trying to converge to it, but they won't get to it before it drops to the ground. Coming in from the mid-wicket region was Mark Adair, and a little fortuitous there. MacLeod with a big skyer.
Well, it's a wee bit of a common theme, actually, again in T20 cricket, watching a lot of it. They look to try and encourage, if you've got any sort of pace at all, encourage batsmen into cross-batted shots. You can splice it a bit. And of course we saw a situation yesterday, one like that, ended in a run-out for O'Dowd from the Netherlands.
That's another one down the leg side. It's just being a little wild, Boyd Rankin, and this is spell from the Dublin road end. That's disappointing. Just trying to keep it tight. It's got them off like a train yesterday. Scored 16 in their first over. Eventually the opening pair of Munsey and Kurtzer put on 200, but this is just a little bit of rebuilding now between MacLeod and Leask, with the 2 openers departing.
Again, a good cricket shot. David Delaney down there at third man. Good bit of fielding and well in from him. I'm sure he'll be very anxious to get in the game at stump stage soon, and real exciting talent. Bowls a very heavy ball. Has had speed certainly up towards 90 miles an hour on occasions during this difficult summer weather-wise, and he's a real exciting prospect, David, and has been for quite some time. So hopefully he can fulfill that. It's an exciting time, as we know, for fast bowlers. Jofra Archer, the excitement he brought to the summer in England.
Oh,
and that's another wicket.
Beautiful ball. Straight through the gap. And Leask is gone. Didn't last long yesterday. Went out first ball. And now he's gone today for just 2, facing just 5 deliveries. And Ireland get their 3rd wicket, and they're in amongst them now. 56 for 3, 58 for 3.
Didn't look the greatest shot from our angle, that, John. And again, as you say, Michael Leask went yesterday for a first ball duck, and he hasn't added to that tally today. Comprehensively bowled. Always a joy for a fast bowler to see that stump rocketing out of the ground. And Boyd Rankin on target there. So Ireland will be thrilled to look at that wickets column. 3 down now with the score on 58, and good for them. And it brings Richie Berrington to the crease, John, a man who's traumatised Ireland bowling units over the years. Vastly experienced player, Richie Berrington. It's going to be after a little bit of rebuilding, you would think, for Scotland at this stage. And Ireland, outside of these wides, look to be bowling to a particular plan and overall have done well so far.
Well, that's encouraged Gary Wilson to put a slip in. I think that's Andy Balbirnie that's actually gone into slip for Boyd Rankin. Richie Berrington scored 22 off 16 deliveries against the Netherlands yesterday. 32-year-old, born in Pretoria in South Africa. Yesterday was his 50th T20 international. Closing in on 1,000 runs as well at this level. Up on his toes, just squeezes into the offside and called through for a single. But Ireland in amongst them now. Big wickets though, obviously, and in particular Muncie after that spectacular century yesterday.
Absolutely. And again, you know, he's a very skillful player and they'll be delighted, but compliments to the skipper. Mid-on was in. Gave the chance of a wicket, didn't go defensive. And again, it's something I've noticed with Aaron Finch's captaincy of Australia in one-day international cricket, always looking to press for a wicket.
Last ball then of that, the 7th over, just rolled off the face of the bat down to third man, and that ends the 7th over, and Scotland 60 for 3.
Yes, indeed. Certainly a lot more interesting today, John. It's clear that Ireland are bowling with some decent plans and doing very well, and it's going to be very interesting to see now David Delaney indeed coming into the attack from the Malahide Castle End, and there'll be a lot of excitement around the ground for David. Again, another cricketer who's excelled at youth level. Very energetic young man, hugely powerful, big strong shoulders on him. And there'll be a lot of excitement, as I say.
David Delaney on debut, plays for Leinster Lightning. Left-handed bat, but a right-handed bowler. Only 21 years of age. Has played for Munster Reds. Munster Reds are involved in the Interpro Series in Ireland in the T20. He's played for them. And has also played for Ireland A, the Wolves team, just that grade below the senior international team in one-day cricket. So it's a big moment for him, big moment for his family.
Yeah, a huge moment, and of course he replaces his cousin. They are related, Gareth Delaney and David Delaney.
Well, that went through everybody. Just kept extremely low, and his first ball in T20 cricket at this level scoots along the ground. Gary Wilson could do absolutely nothing about that. The batsman didn't know much about it either.
Very unlucky there for David Delaney, skewing off an inside edge there from Callum MacLeod. But that won't worry the skipper, Gary Wilson. Nice start. That little bit of extra pace, of course, that David Delaney brings, as I said earlier. He's brought speed, certainly in the late 80s this year, and has bowled quickly. So hopefully, from an Irish point of view, he can replicate that today.
Yeah, it's my first chance to see him. He looks quick. He certainly tucked up the batsman on that particular occasion, working it into the leg side to add 1 to Scotland's total. What did you make to the Netherlands yesterday? You actually said in commentary that, like, probably halfway through their bowling, that their heads were down, hands on hips. I know they're missing a lot of players, and a lot of the squad that are here won't actually be in the T20 qualifiers, but they looked a beaten side a long way out, didn't they?
Well, they looked very disjointed, disorganised, lacking enthusiasm. Didn't seem to me to have any bowling plans at all, apart from Klassen in those last few overs where he was able to deliver 10 Yorkers out of 12 deliveries, but they would have been very disappointed with yesterday.
That's well run. Barrington quickly called through as he just cushioned that into the offside. And Scotland now on to 66 for 3. We're in the 8th over.
This has been a good start from Delaney. Unlucky to be skewed down. His first delivery in international cricket down to fine leg, but he's been on the money since then.
That's a nice shot as well from McLeod. Just eased it down to Boyd Rankin. A third man just opened the face of the bat and rolled it off the bat. And one more. But yesterday, Muncie and Kurtzer were hitting the Netherlands to all regions of the ground. Overhead conditions yesterday. Netherlands won the toss, decided to bowl themselves, hoping to make use of that conditions today. Clear skies, middle of September, wonderful day here in Malahide for this third match in the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. Ireland's first game against the Netherlands washed out on Sunday. Scotland with a 58-run victory yesterday over Netherlands. So this is match 3 of the series.
And a great series it is too, and it's nice to see also Gary Wilson, Andrew Balbirnie in at slip, looking to attack, looking to force the wicket, which is a key thing in T20 cricket. They're at a premium, biggest run saver you have.
Oh, that's a nice shot. Nothing Harry Tector could do about that. Bounces into the boundary and the advertising hoardings to end the 8th over. 73 without loss.
So slightly disappointing end there to David Delaney's over. John just sliced away. Uppercut really. And but he'll be happy to have got through it. No extra balls. It's a difficult format to establish yourself, but in one way a nice way to get yourself into international cricket. And who would have thought? Delaney's at either end, eh?
Happy families.
Two completely different skills. Gareth has turned himself, and of course was always a leg spinner, but he's turned himself into a good one. He's looking to get the ball through quicker now, which again in T20 cricket is good. Callum McLeod, a very good player of spin though, sweeps the ball very, very well.
Gareth Delaney also for Leinster Lightning. He had to take a wicket in T20 internationals. Made his debut at Breedy in July of this year against Zimbabwe. 73-4-3. We're in the 9th over. Big news from Ireland's point of view is the absence of Paul Stirling today. We heard before the match that he had a niggle and just wasn't considered today because of that, and it's just chipped towards the
Oh, that's a super
bowler.
Piece of fielding from Stuart Thompson, John. Not alone might it have been a catch to Gareth Delaney, but a super bit of retrieving from Stuart Thompson. That's the type of energy that has been brought into this Irish setup.
Yeah, great cricket on both counts there. Leading edge, nearly went back to the bowler. Thompson, not only was it a super piece of fielding, but he also prevented a run. But this time, Scotland run through for a couple.
That's good cricket from Scotland there. An immediate call of 2. They knew the gap was pierced, and Lorcan Tucker and Harry Tector converging. But good cricket that from Scotland.
McLeod's moved nicely on to 19 now off 13 deliveries. And it'll punch down the ground to another one of the debutants, Harry Tector. He's wearing 13. He's not superstitious at all, young Harry.
Well, we won't get into what his thoughts on that were, but we'll discuss that a little bit later on. I think there was a mix-up in communications, John, but that's Harry. He's contrarian at best.
Captain of the Ireland Wolves side, who beat Bangladesh earlier on this year in one of the matches that preceded the Tri-Series between the West Indies and Bangladesh. That was out in the hills. Scotland 77-3 coming towards the end of the 9th over. Muncie, Kurtzer and Leask back in the dressing rooms. Oh, and Kevin O'Brien. Oh, that's not great fielding from a man who's usually reliable coming in from the boundary. Thought half about diving forward to try and take the catch, stepped back and it went through him at the end of 9, 81-3.
Yeah, Kevin O'Brien, a little bit unlucky there. He was thinking at one stage maybe a catch was on, and then an ugly bounce just in front of him. Couldn't get that frame of his in front of it to prevent it going for 4. So you could clearly see with his throwback the disappointment in terms of allowing that go for 4. Boyd Rankin's doing a merry-go-round here, John. Malahide Road End, Dublin Road End, Malahide Castle End.
Boyd Rankin switching ends once again. Started at the Malahide Castle End, switched to Dublin Road. Now back at Malahide Castle End. Comparison Scotland yesterday in the end of 9 overs. They were 94, but that was without loss. They've lost 3 here. McLeod and Barrington with this rebuilding job for them. That'll be a single.
I think the other feature out here, John, and again, probably it was a misread from the Netherlands, Phil Frost. He's produced some absolute belter batting strips out here in Malahide. There's been a feast of runs which we enjoyed through the Tri-Series earlier in May this year, and no different here. And Scotland indeed had no hesitation in electing bat when they won the toss out with you there earlier today.
Again, worked around the corner by McLeod. Sandwiches have arrived, which is great. Some refreshments mid-afternoon. If you're in and around the area and you're watching this on YouTube, want to pop down, it's free entry. Spread the word. All these games, free entry here at Malahide, and the weather set fair for the rest of the week. That's a good shot.
That's a great shot.
Beats Tector at backward point. Nothing Delaney can do just in front of us. Another 4 to Scotland.
The feature there, John, was Barrington got deep in the crease. He set himself early for that type of length. Perhaps gave himself a little bit of room and slashed that away past Tector, who's at quite square at point.
There is Tector picking that up. That's a position that has been filled over the years by William Porterfield, who was an exponent of that position at backward point. He doesn't play T20 cricket anymore for Ireland on the international stage. Still the Test captain, William Porterfield, handed over the baton to Gary Wilson.
He was absolutely superb in that position, John, William Porterfield. I think latter end of captaincy, we see him now at mid-off, mid-on. And of course, he took that famous catch in Canberra against Zimbabwe.
I was standing right behind him, actually, when that ball was in the air.
Oh, so
and
was
I was actually looking up at the ball, thinking, oh, somebody's got to catch that. And then I looked down and saw William Porterfield running in from the boundary. I went, he's going to catch that. Definitely. He's an outstanding fielder, William Porterfield. Last ball of the 10th over then. Boyd Rankin comes in and it's whipped around the corner. 1 to the total. End of 10 then. Halfway through, it's 89 for 3. Thanks to Alan Lewis for the moment. He'll be back after the end of the next 5 overs. Garfield Harrison stepping back in again at the midway point of the Scotland innings, having won the toss and deciding to bat. They're 89 for 3. George Munsey out for 34. Kyle Kurtzer went before him. Boyd Rankin for 20. Thompson got the wicket of Munsey, caught by Getka in the deep. And Michael Leask is the other batsman out. Callum McLeod is there on 25, not out after 17 overs. And Richie Barrington has made 11. And David Delaney will be bowling from the Dublin Road End. Garfield.
John, yes, I think Scotland will be reasonably happy with their position. You know, it's 90 runs, 91 runs off 10 overs. It's a pretty good start, but it's a good pitch, fast outfield. Ireland won't be too disappointed because, you know, so far they haven't done an awful lot wrong and their bowling has worked to the plan so far. A couple of wides that we probably could have done without. But other than that, there hasn't been a lot wrong with our bowling.
At this stage yesterday, the Netherlands were working through pretty much every player they had. I thought at one stage they were going to take Wallace and get them take the gloves off and have a bowl. They tried every combination, didn't work. That's one's punched down the ground and it's going to go past the fielder, Shane Getka, and that rolls all the way to the fence for 4. Nice shot, Richie Barrington.
Lovely shot from Barrington there. Just maybe a slightly full from David Delaney. Just needs to pull his length back a wee bit from there. He's able to free his arms and get through the ball, but a lovely shot straight to the boundary. Yeah.
Singles to be had if you just drop it short, because most of the Irish players now standing on the edge of the ring, or the inner circle I should say.
Yeah, that's a better length there from David Delaney, that particular delivery, and it's great to see the young lad bowling here, because if you watch him on his delivery stride, he's like a javelin thrower. He's got a front leg that's braced, and he comes right over the top of that front leg, just the same as the javelin thrower does, and that's where he's able to generate the speed.
That's a good call from Barrington. McLeod didn't know where that ball had gone. Barrington certainly did. Dropped it straight in front of the Scottish batsman, but Barrington quickly through.
Great energy in the field here from Ireland, and it's lovely to see it. Even though that was probably a comfortable run, they're still pushing the Scottish batsmen. They're trying to give him the hurry up.
Scotland scored 252 yesterday. That was an enormous total. The highest score in the T20 International in Ireland, and this one crashed to the fence for 4. Nothing Lorcan Tucker can do about that. 1 bounce 4, and the century up for Scotland.
Yes, beautiful shot here again. David Delaney just dropping it a wee bit shorter than probably he needed to. It's just he's finding it difficult just to find the right length. That one there just a wee bit short, but still very encouraging signs for Irish cricket, with David Delaney coming in there and bowling at a very brisk rate. Problem is that if the batsman gets a bat on it, it disappears off the bat at a brisk rate as well. These bats these days, they're like trampolines.
That's in the air. Is there somebody beneath that? Yes, there is, and it's well taken too. Coming in for the boundary, Gareth Delaney dives full length, and the first wicket for David Delaney, the 21-year-old, and celebration time for the Delaney family working in combo, and Scotland lose their 4th wicket.
Great catch there, and a great piece of bowling from David Delaney. Absolutely delighted there. He's got his first international wicket. Thoroughly well deserved, and really, he will bounce on from this. This will give him a lot of confidence, and that's a great couple of overs there that he's bowled. Okay, he's gone for 23, but really encouraging signs there from Ireland, and now we're into the Scotland middle order.
Ollie Hares is the new batsman for Scotland. Actually made his way to the crease yesterday, but didn't face a ball in the win over the Netherlands. So while Ireland have given away runs, the bonus from their point of view is they've been taking wickets steadily, and also the most important thing is getting rid of those 2 openers who had battered the Dutch attack yesterday in Muncie and Coetzer.
It's a very strong batting lineup the Scots have, and a lot of experience there, and the getting rid of the 2 openers there reasonably cheaply at the beginning will certainly help Ireland. Now they have to try and consolidate, put the squeeze on, and see if we can keep them down to sort of singles and try and eliminate the boundaries, which is going to be difficult on a very flat pitch on an absolutely lightning outfield. Have to say, John, this ground here looks like a county ground. It now has got that look about it over in England. If you played one of the top county grounds there, for instance, Somerset, this is very similar to that now.
Ollie Harris is the one player from both sides. In fact, in all the 3 squads, he doesn't have a number on his back. And immediately off the mark, the 28-year-old, born in Redhill in Surrey.
Yes, and we've got the right hand, left hand combination in again here. So again, that's a wee bit of added difficulty for the bowler to get his line right. Puts him under a wee bit more pressure. and I'm sure we'll see maybe the odd sweep shot here from Callum MacLeod. Certainly seems to be his favourite shot. He'll be looking at eyeing up that boundary on the leg side.
With Barrington back at the pavilion, McLeod's the one that Ireland would like to get. Gareth Delaney bowling. It's nicely cut away, but there's a sweeper behind in Norkin Tucker, so just the one to the total. If you didn't hear, Paul Sterling not playing today, which is a disappointment, I suppose, for the crowd that'll be here, and those of you watching us. Very exciting. Ireland's top batsman in ODI and T20 cricket. He's got a little niggle in the Middlesex man. And big news as well from Ireland's point of view is the fact that he is leaving Middlesex at the end of the 2019 season and has signed a full-time contract with Cricket Ireland. There were suggestions down the years that he would stay with Middlesex. Things have changed, obviously, in the English county side systems in regard to overseas players. But the fact that a player like Paul Sterling has actually made the commitment to Cricket Ireland and is going to come home and play in the Interprovincial Series and be full-time contracted to Cricket Ireland is a huge boost to cricket here.
Yes, it's one of the best pieces of news this summer, as Paul Sterling's committed to Ireland, and that's what we want. Oh, what a great shot.
We haven't had many maximums in this particular Scottish innings, but there's the second one today, and it is beautifully thumped away by Hares, and he moves quickly on to 8 after just 3 deliveries. We saw yesterday Munsey thumping it to all parts of the ground, and that's a fine maximum from Ollie Hares.
Yeah, that's the slug sweep, front leg down, the pitch, wee bit of width on the offside, which enables him to free his arms, and he's got that right out of the middle of the bat, and that's a big 6 and a big ground.
10 runs so far off this over. Make that 11 as the final ball of the 12th is delivered, and Scotland move on to Nelson at the end of 12, 111 for 4. Eight overs to go. McLeod on 29. And Harris has just joined them, but he's clubbed a big 6 in the last over to move to 9 quite quickly. Munsey, Kurtzer, Leask and Barrington all back in the pavilion as Ireland got amongst the Scottish top order batsmen. 252 is what they scored yesterday against the Netherlands. I don't think they got anywhere close to that, but Ireland will be hoping just to get rid of McLeod and then get into the lower order of Scotland over the next couple of overs.
Yeah, the Scottish batsmen will have a figure in mind as to what's a par score here today, and they'll be looking towards that now. I would imagine that it'll be sort of 200, 210 in and around that. And I would suggest that on this pitch and the conditions today, the outfield's so quick that sort of 180, 190, 200 is in and around a par score. So anything in and around that, I would imagine Ireland will be reasonably happy with.
David Delaney to continue then from the Dublin road end. Ollie Harris is facing. Slip long gone. That's up in the air, and Harry Tector's underneath him, but it's just going to go up and over his head. He'd come in from the boundary, walked in, they run through for 2, but that was a bit of a false shot, and Scotland got away with that one.
That was the old forearm smash that you normally see in Wimbledon. It's amazing the sort of shots that the guys can play these days, and he's hit that over the top of mid-off on a forearm smash, out of the screws as well, right out in the middle of the bat. But luckily, he only cost 2 runs, so good piece of bowling from David Delaney, not giving him any real width.
There is a man out there.
Yeah, nice piece of bowling. No width there on offer, and it's hard for them then to make room to get it away to the boundary. But that's a great piece of bowling from David, and a great length that he's bowling, and not giving the batters here any width. Difficult for the right hand left hand combination. Now he has to readjust his line again to the right hander.
Yeah, they've pushed Mark Adair out of the fence at the cover boundary, and it claiming for caught behind. Loud appeal from Gary Wilson.
Yeah, big confident shout there from Gary Wilson and David Delaney, but the
might have saved a run too, because that looked like a wide.
Umpire Alan Neal was not amused, and but a bit strange that he didn't give it a wide. Might have flicked the pad on the way through, which is maybe what the noise that they heard. But it's a dot ball, so Ireland be happy with that.
That's a lovely stroke. It just punched that down the ground. The classic stroke really would be get to the pitch of the ball, but he just clubbed it.
Well, he's just cleared the front leg here and just swung through the line of the ball and got it right out of the middle. Incredible shot. It's gone to the boundary like a rocket. Great piece of batting there by Callum McLeod. Very, very talented cricketer.
Yeah, McLeod's the danger man. The 30-year-old made his T20 debut back in 2009 against New Zealand, ex-Warwickshire and Durham, and now Derbyshire.
Yeah, great comeback. Almost a Yorker there from David Delaney, and I've never seen any batsman, John, ever hit a Yorker for 6. So, you know, it's a great defensive ball if you can bowl it, and these guys are practicing these balls every day now, and certainly you'll see a lot more of that towards the end of this innings.
David Delaney on debut today, along with Harry Tector, has taken a wicket. His cousin Gareth taking the catch of Richie Berrington when he was on 20. That's a better ball.
Almost a run out there. David's almost deflected that onto the stumps.
I think that may have been his intention, either try to catch it or deflect it onto the stumps. We see it here.
Yeah, it's hit hard, mind you. And he's just flicked his fingers.
I think he was just trying to stop it. Yeah.
Unfortunately, didn't. From an Ireland point of view, didn't deflect it onto the stumps, and Callum McLeod was very quick to get back into his crease.
13 down now, 7 to go. Scotland 119 for 4. I think Ireland will be happy enough the way things have gone in those opening 13 overs.
I honestly don't think that Ireland will be too disappointed with this so far. It's it hasn't got out of control the way it got out of control yesterday with the Dutch bowlers. Ireland's still in control here, and they'll be looking for a breakthrough now. If they can get Callum McLeod out and get him back in the pavilion, then that'll certainly help their cause.
Ireland have just used the 5 bowlers so far, rotating them from one end to the other. Now a change again. Mark Adair opened the bowling for Ireland from the Dublin Road end, now switching to the Malahide Castle end. Just 2 T20s for him. Best of 4 for 40. He made an impressive 32 when he was batting off 30 in his ODI debut against England. That one is dispatched, and rightfully so, by McLeod. Beautiful square cut for 4.
Yes, a wee bit of width here on offer from Mark Adair, and Callum McLeod takes full advantage and plays a beautiful shot all the way along the ground for 4. Great piece of batting from Callum McLeod, and really a danger man in Ireland. But looking at the scoreboard, and he's 40 off 25 balls.
The one thing about Mark Adair is that it doesn't let him bother him. It's a good stop from Kevin O'Brien. Prevents the ball going for 4, but doesn't seem to let anything bother him. He's a very precocious young man, very talented. Comes from a sporting family indeed. His father was a goalkeeper. His brother played rugby at a decent level as well. And now here he is representing Ireland. Mark Adair hasn't taken a wicket so far. Not for 26 in his 3rd. Ollie Hares is facing, and as you were saying, Garfield, the left-right combination, just moving the field around. Ireland again with the change in the field. They're going to bring Boyd Rankin up from fine leg to short fine leg. Back into the ring he goes. Slower ball.
Yes, it's good to see the slower ball. The batters need to get them thinking, and slower ball is a very good delivery if you can bowl it as well as Mark Adair can bowl it, and he's come across that bowl like an off cutter just like an off-spin bowler would do, and certainly hasn't come onto the bat with the same speed. But yes, you're saying about Margaret there, very confident lad, and after such a great summer, such an exciting prospect for Cricket Ireland.
Oh, that's lovely. Just waited on that and just rolled it down past Boyd Rankin for a boundary. That's a beautiful shot.
That's a very clever piece of batting by Callum MacLeod. He obviously recognises that the third man is up on the edge of the circle as well as the fine leg, and he's just used the pace of the ball there just to tuck it away with a late cut for 4 runs.
Well, MacLeod's on to 43 now. Again, he's done the same shots, and this time, well, the previous ball was left-hand side to Boyd Rankin. This time it was to the right-hand side. 2 very clever boundaries from MacLeod. Takes him close to that 50.
Yeah, he's just using the pace of the ball again. Not a really, not a bad ball there, and he's just leant back and just cut it, found the gap perfectly, and it's raced away to the boundary for 4. This really is a fast-scoring ground yesterday and today. So again, whatever score Scotland end up with, I'm sure Ireland will be confident that they can chase it down.
It's been an expensive over so far. 14 off it. And again, just using the pace of the ball. This time, Boyd Rankin is the one to collect.
Yes, and that's 50 for Callum MacLeod. A really top innings. He's hit the ball all round the ground. He's been very hard to bowl at, and he's always seems to be able to find the gap. Just a very, very professional operator.
Well, slight discrepancy on the scoreboards, just to tell you. MacLeod on our scoreboard here is on 48 and Scotland 134 for 4. The official scoreboard here at the ground has Scotland on 136 for 4 and MacLeod has gone to 50. So as far as we're concerned, that is the correct score, and he's too shy.
Ireland not be complaining. It's two runs saved. So if we're right and the scoreboard's wrong, I'm sure there'll be no complaints from the Irish side, but we'll get that clarified as soon as we can now. And so this is the first time today now we're seeing Shane Gatket, who has become a very good death bowler. John, 6 overs to go. We want to now make it as difficult as possible for the Scottish batters.
Well, he's a big tall man, Shane Gatket, and that's a good start.
It's clear, it's clear to see here by the field that he's set that, he's going to bowl nice and full. Shane, he's got all his fielders back, long off, long on, and the third man and the fine leg are up inside the circle, so that sort of tells you, if you're the batter, that he's going to be bowling it reasonably full, and we'll see if he can stem the scoreboard.
And Shane Gatket plays his inter-pro cricket for the Northern Knights. That's going to be called a wide. Gary Wilson up to the stumps. Gatket, born in Durban, but he played for underage levels for Ireland, and he's played 8 T20 so far. 6 wickets, best of 2 for 15. Made his debut against Oman in February of this year. And with the changing of the guard in T20 cricket for Ireland, he's certainly one for the future. That's a low full toss. Got away with that. Just a single.
Yes, he's got away with that, but again, he's got the fielders back for that, for that type of shot, and it looks like he's really going to be bowling the ball nice and full here, trying not to give the batters much width either, so that they can cramp their style up, and stop them sort of clearing the ropes anyway.
That's nice delivery. It really is, as you say, bowling very full. Gatket, and it's just forcing the batsman to think. And with Wilson standing up behind the stumps, no suggesting they may be dancing down the track at him. That's a good start from Götke.
Yes, I love this plan. I love Gary Wilson up at the stumps there, putting the batter under a bit more pressure.
That's another wide. Wilson claimed, yes, good ball. Just trying to put the umpire off, perhaps, but Alan Neil was having none of that.
Yes, Alan Neil calls that a wide. He's been very severe on the wides today, and quite rightly so. But you can see Shane Getget's plan here. He's bowling it up and full wide so that the batters find it very hard to get in under it and clear the ropes.
That's in the air. There's a man underneath it, but this man is Harry Tector, who watches the ball sail over his head for the maximum. Oh, a beautiful shot down the ground that is from Ollie Hares. Takes himself to 20 now. On our scoreboard, McLeod has now reached his 50. Oh, that's a fantastic shot, but Harry Tector could do nothing about that except watch it sail over his head.
Oh, that's a great shot. Now, just Shane Getget has just gone a wee bit too full there. He's just got his length wrong slightly.
And that's the difficulty, isn't it? If you're bowling it full, once you
he's
do
over.
it, he's actually had one ball, or before that was a full toss, low full toss as well. If you're bowling that kind of full delivery, the slightest error means you over bowl it.
Absolutely, but having said that, it's a great shot to hit a low full toss like that, and to hit it out of the ground over the ropes. That's a great piece of power hitting there.
It's coming towards the end of the Scotland innings, so they're trying to get as many runs as they possibly can, towards the 200 mark possibly. And Hares is giving it a good old dig. 21 now off 11, and McLeod passes 50, on his 50, according to our scoreboard, after 31. Scotland 146 for 4, having won the toss this afternoon and deciding to put themselves and back themselves by batting first.
Yes, Ireland will be, trying to keep this score now to in and around 200. If it goes much over that, then that will certainly be advantage Scotland. So it'll be a good time now, John, to take a wicket if you're an Irish supporter.
Psychological barrier, all right. The 200 mark in T20 cricket. It's going over the wicket and well bowled to end the 15th over. McLeod's there on 50 not out. Hares on 21. 146 for 4. Change of commentary for the last 5 overs. Andrew Leonard and Alan Lewis.
Thank you, JK. And yeah, we've seen a really interesting period of play there, because Scotland, perhaps compared to yesterday's fireworks, not quite going the same momentum, Alan, but looking well on course for over 200 here again.
Well, it's interesting. McLeod hasn't really hit the ball with any anger. He's 52 of 32 deliveries. And again, just shows the extent of his touch, his flair. He's a great sweeper of the ball, Callum McLeod, and vast experience, first-class cricket, and an excellent player.
Down the leg side from Thompson. We've seen an awful lot of wides from Ireland this afternoon. They're clearly bowling to plans, but perhaps just not quite executing them as they were hoping.
Well, it's the one aspect actually of the play today, Andrew, that has disappointed, the number of wides. And Stuart Thompson pleading with the umpire was clear. It was off the pad of Hares.
9th wide of the innings so far from this Irish attack. 5 overs to go. Parried down the ground by Oliver Hares. Heading to the leg side. Lorcan Tucker does a fielding, just going to be a single. Really interesting story. Oliver Hares, he made 5 appearances in the World Cricket League back in 2010. Hasn't had a Scottish cap since. It's his rebirth as an international.
Has a look at Jesse Ryder about him, Andrew. Oliver Hares.
Not a bad shout, that, yeah.
Thought you'd like that. Always players you look at and you kind of go, gosh, he looks a bit like him. He's like, but I just thought, here comes Jesse to the crease.
The way he shapes up, the way he hits the ball, looks very powerful into the leg side. Shades of George Munsey, of course, as well. Powerful left-handed hitters. That's brilliant from Callum McLeod, and David Delaney tried to anticipate it at short fine leg, but he ran to his right, the ball went to his left, The end result is 4 runs.
Well, I've seen players getting down low, but McLeod has taken that from a standing position. As you say, David Delaney's looked to anticipate very, very well, and he's just clipped it wide of him. An extraordinary shot that from Callum McLeod. Beautiful piece of inventive batting from him. And there's just new inventions. This T20 game has changed so much over the last couple of years. Just the invention of batsmen now to get the ball to the boundary. Brilliant shot from McLeod.
Slower ball bouncer pulled into the deep by McLeod. Straight to the man, just going to be a single. Tell me what you think about the slower ball bouncer, Alan.
Well, it's funny. We spoke about it on commentary yesterday. And again, you know, I don't understand myself sometimes what's wrong with the top of off stump, nice and tight. Scotland bowled very tight lines early on yesterday and then got themselves absorbed in this issue of slower ball. But I understand it to a certain extent, but perhaps not with the consistency that they're bowling them.
Right into the block hole, and that's just what you were talking about. Ayres digs it out. They're going to look for 2. The throw, not a clean pickup. Not for the first time today, Ireland just a tiny bit ragged in the field.
Well, it's interesting. Generally I've been pretty pleased with it. Just Mark Adair has been off colour today, missing 1 or 2 with anticipation in the circle. A misfield there. Struggled a wee bit with the ball, as Mark, who's been a stellar performance since he's made his debut in May against England. And he'll be disappointed with that, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. Powered into the offside, out to Mark Adair again. He's going to have more work to do. Can he cut off the second run? The throw's going to come in. Ayres has to get off the treadmill, and he won't get there in time. He will. That looked incredibly close to me. Gary Wilson whipped the bails off. He's going to get back for the second. I thought he was in trouble.
I think it would be interesting to see that, but I think one of the things is Mark Adair could have got quicker to the ball there, and Oliver Ayres was struggling. Of course, we just can't quite see that from square on, but he certainly did look to be struggling.
End of the 16th over. Moves to 158 for 4 now. We're just going to catch those graphics up at the bottom of your screen. And the reason... Going to see a change in bowling. Going to be Boyd Rankin back into the attack. Just the reason we're getting those graphics updated for you at the bottom of the screen. Little discrepancy between not just the graphics we had, but also the Cricket Info, the Cricket Europe scoring. They all thought that Callum McLeod had hit a 4 down here off David Delaney, but in fact the scorers have it as a 6, and we've looked back on the tape and it did just carry for 6. So McLeod is now correctly moving on to 57, batting very well.
You never miss these lovely snippets of information, Lenny. You're the cricket badger of the century, it has to be said.
Thank you, Alan. Boyd Rankin here from the Dublin Road end. Powered down towards us in the commentary position. It's going to soar all the way for 6. Clears the rope. I thought we were in action for yet another chance in the commentary box, Lou. But that's a sensational shot from Callum McLeod. 6 runs.
Great shot. He just got inside that and helped it on its way, really. And I don't know whether it's these bats, Andrew, or whatnot, but it just seems to be 6s at will, really. And again now Gareth Delaney being posted out onto the deep mid-wicket boundary. So 4 inside the circle on the offside. Third man now going back with extra cover coming in. That will be inviting for McLeod.
Well bowled, good comeback. You can see McLeod looking to play almost a sort of a chop down. He was giving himself room outside the leg stump. What's he looking to do there? Stand there and hit it?
Well, he's doing a lot of chopping today, is Callum McLeod, but that's good bowling from Boyd Rankin, following him, getting inside the leg stump. That's good bowling from Boyd Rankin. And that's equally good bowling, getting that ball full. And it was one feature yesterday. Freddie Klassen in his second spell bowled 10 Yorkers out of 12 deliveries. He only went for 7 in those 2 overs. And again, it was probably the only time yesterday we saw any sort of planning from the Dutch team in terms of their bowling. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's one area that generally you're going to be hit, and that's down the ground. And that's clever from Boyd Rankin.
A little over 3 overs to go now. 21 deliveries remain in the innings, and you have to think that Scotland are not just going to be targeting over 200. Can they get up to 210, 220? Ollie Hare showing why he's been brought back into the squad.
Isn't it funny though, Andrew, as well? It makes every ball important. You know, Ireland will be looking perhaps 3 overs to go. If they can restrict them to between 25 and 30, they'll feel it's a job well done.
Powered down the ground, but straight to mid-off. That's Harry Tector, who fields well. No time for a single there. Right on the edge of the circle, as you often see in the latter overs of a T20I.
It's very rare one would see Harry Tector at mid-off. Very good square of the wicket on the offside, and indeed on the leg side. Fantastic fielder, Harry Tector. Hits the stumps with regularity at the bowler's end when called into action.
Pulled into the deep. There's a man at deep mid-wicket, and it's going to go straight to him. Boyd Rankin has his hands in the sky. That's a very good catch. He almost overran it. I think it's Shane Getgate out there.
It is Shane
really
Getgate. Very good catch. It's quite interesting square of the wicket here, and you could see there from Shane Getgate, just to judge the angle, he had to move at the last minute to collect that, and it's a good piece of work and a useful innings from Hares. Big striker of the ball, big man, left-hander, and that's a good wicket for Ireland. But Callum MacLeod is still there, 64 not out from 37. Played beautifully here today, Andrew.
Yeah, he's been superb. A class act. The Kane Williamson of this Scottish batting lineup, without doubt. Matthew Cross going to be the new batsman to the crease, coming in at number 7. He was left out yesterday, a little bit surprisingly. Craig Wallace had the gloves, but that has been rotated. We talk about rotation these days in international
it's a bit like
cricket.
Paul Sterling with a niggle. What's a niggle, Lenny? Have you any? What is a niggle?
I'm not sure whether it's rotation in the Irish case or if he does have a niggle, but the big crowd that's starting to gather now in Malahide, he would have been looking forward to see the Forks. A big question for me, Alan, who's going to open the batting with Kevin O'Brien?
Well, that will be interesting. I think it's probably between Stuart Thompson and Gareth Delaney, I would imagine, but I would sense probably the left-hander, right-hander combination. Stuart Thompson might go to the top of the order.
Nicely worked off his legs by Callum MacLeod. He was happy with the single there because it's the final ball of the over. The batsman having crossed. He'll keep the strike. 17 overs gone. Scotland 166 for 5. Let's take a quick look at the bowling figures so far and see what options Gary Wilson has for these final 3 overs.
Well, I think if you look at it, probably the one off colour was Mark Adair. His 3 overs going for 36. Gareth Delaney, very good. There's 3 overs for 23. David Delaney on debut. His figures probably don't do him that little bit of justice, and he'll be happy to have got through that element of work. And Boyd Rankin doing extremely well, 3 for 29, the pick of the bowlers.
How pleasing for David Delaney as well. A maiden international wicket for him. And of course, caught by his cousin, Gareth Delaney. So nice family connection.
Who said Irish cricket isn't a family affair? It certainly was on that occasion. Gareth Delaney taking a good catch, and interesting too that Gareth Delaney's back in the attack. Lenny, a leg spinner, of course. You're plying that trade all your career. You tell me about it at regular points and intervals. You must be pleased.
Yeah, and I think it's a big departure from Gareth Delaney's traditional leg breaks. He's been working an awful lot with Rob Castle, the Irish bowling coach, to bowl quicker and flatter and not allow any elevation. And you see Jacob Mulder, who's unfortunately come out of this squad with a little bit of a back injury, but he's wanting them to kind of follow the Rashid Khan template. Bowl quick and flat, don't allow any elevation. He's bowled nicely so far today. Pulled into the deep, really powerfully struck by Callum MacLeod. How quickly did he seize upon the length? And despite the best efforts of Andy Balbirnie, that's going to be another boundary 4.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good ball there to start off from Gareth Delaney. Short. But the interesting thing from Callum MacLeod's point of view was his placement. Often it is disregarded, but you could clearly see the area of the ground. He was looking to pierce those 2 fielders deep on the leg side. Fantastic batting again from him.
Flat again, pulled into the deep. They're going to obviously push for 2 here. Can Callum MacLeod get back? He can't. Really good pace to the ball. I think that's Harry Tector. You get your key positions, your key fielders into the key positions. Good example of it there, Harry Tector.
Absolutely. Harry is an outstanding fielder and puts huge amount of effort and work into it. And it's a great addition to this Ireland T20 setup in terms of these younger players who've come into the squad.
2 new caps today for the first time for Ireland. David Delaney, the tearaway quick, and Harry Tector, the fielder there. That's a brilliant catch. Absolutely outstanding from Gareth Delaney. He turns to the umpire. He says it's carried to him. He's come forward. He's held it cleanly. Got his 2 hands underneath the ball. And good to see from Matthew Cross. He trusts the bowler. That's out. Brilliant bowling.
Fantastic bowling. He got his length right there, you see, Andrew, and a great catch coming forward of his own bowling. Never easy that to judge ones that are hit straight back to you like that, but a great piece of work from him. And again now, you know, you were talking about Scotland, Andrew, 200, 210, 2 quick wickets, change a few things, and really what will decide whether that is or it isn't is, of course, the performance of Callum MacLeod. 70 from 40 now.
Safian Sharif's going to be in at number 8 for Scotland, and I was just talking about the 2 Irish debutants, not just T20I debutants, but their first ever games for the full side. And as a tradition in a lot of international cricket now, you see them get handed their caps, and a nice tradition. Former internationals are doing so. So we had the great Andrew Pointer from Clontarf give David Delaney his cap, and a certain D.A. Lewis to my left, you got to do it for Harry Tector.
Well,
talk to us about that.
Gary Wilson approached me on Sunday. It looks likely. He said that Harry will make his debut, and of course, having known him since he was a boy, nothing gave me greater pleasure. It was an honour to do it, and he's had a stellar career for himself so far, and this elevation, I think, is going to be the mark of things to come, because he's excelled at all levels. And of course, you know, the faith that the senior squad have put in him, captaining at such a young age, which he's done most of his career, and of course into the Wolves team that beat a very strong Bangladesh team this year and Zimbabwe. So the elevation has been gradual and just at the right time, and I think he will have a fantastic career for Ireland.
Sharif gets off the mark with a little bit of fortune and inside edge for a single. Does get MacLeod back onto strike. Just 2 balls left in Gareth Delaney's spell. That's that trademark MacLeod sweep. Can he find the gap between the 2 fielders? He can't, but because of a fumble out there at deep square leg, I'm going to get back for 2, and the Irish fielding just a little bit sloppy today.
Well, do you know the interesting thing there, Andrew? It's the speed to the ball. That's the biggest thing you've got to look at. There was Gate was sluggish there getting to the ball. And that's going to be an interesting one here. It could be a chance, and it is, and it's gone. Looks like George Dockrell taking that catch.
Yeah, George Dockrell on as a sub fielder. Perhaps not the best delivery, but Gareth Delaney's not going to mind too much about that because he's got the big wicket. Callum MacLeod getting back for 2, getting onto strike. All he could find was a top edge. It looped simply to the sub fielder, George Dockrell. What a wicket for him. 72 for MacLeod off 42 deliveries. 2 wickets in the over, 2 in the spell. Good reward for a good spell of leg spin bowling.
Well, it's interesting what you were talking about earlier, how quickly this game of T20 can change. Andrew Leonard, of course, in commentary talking about perhaps Scotland looking at 200, 210. And these quick wickets, an absolute godsend from an Irish perspective, because they are the greatest run restrictor there is, and MacLeod gone now. We're into the tail.
Yeah, I think the Scottish lower order, not perhaps known as well as the Irish lower order for its hitting, but Mark Watt's going to come in at number 9. Safian Sharif certainly capable of clearing the ropes, but a really good spell of bowling from Gareth Delaney. 4 overs, 2 for 32. Both those wickets coming in his final over. And good captaincy as well from Gary Wilson, having the bravery to bowl his leg spinner in the 18th over of the match.
Well, the other thing of this captaincy, bringing David Delaney back now in for the tail. And from his point of view, hopefully, and from an Irish point of view, he's licking his lips here. Try and get the ball as full, wicket to wicket as you can for David Delaney. Be a lovely finish.
Yeah, I'm not too sure that Safian Sharif and Mark Watt are going to enjoy this extreme pace of David Delaney. Just onto the legs. Sharif happy with the single. Put Watt onto strike. Yeah, Scotland looked dead set for over 200, but Ireland, can they take the momentum in? Perhaps looking at about 190 now.
Well, you were getting excited, Andrew. You've been around cricket long enough. You always know this game of T20 cricket changes. Quick wickets. As you say, Gareth Delaney taking those quick. But the big one was MacLeod, and the tail is now in. So Ireland will be certainly hoping they can restrict here to something around 190.
And I wonder, is 190, maybe 200 about par on this good a pitch? We saw the Netherlands, no one really got going, barring Peter Seeler, and they still got up to 194 yesterday. Look for the quick single. George Dockrell, one-handed pick-up, outstanding fielding, but he can't find the direct hit. The direct hit, Mark Watt, was gone for all money.
I tell you what was more outstanding there, Andrew, was the backing up from Gareth Delaney, who came in from backwards square, got himself straight and made a miraculous stop that would certainly have saved possibly one or another 2 runs. Brilliant work from both players.
Yeah, George Dockrell on the field. Just trying to see exactly who he's on for at the moment. Might actually be Kevin O'Brien. Short ball pulled straight to long on, where Harry Tector will do the fielding. And this is the problem with losing wickets in your innings. The new men find it difficult to get any real bat on the ball.
Well, certainly 2 and an over, Andrew. There's no doubt about that now. The other side of it, of course, there's no time for hanging around in T20 cricket either, but you don't want the tail in at this stage. You'd certainly want McLeod in at this stage, governing and bossing a lot of the strike. But it hasn't happened, and Ireland have fought back well.
Really good this from David Delaney. I think, as you said, perhaps his figures don't do him justice. Talk about the first delivery bowled in international cricket, the inside edge, gets away for 4. I suppose with the extra pace, you can tend to be that little bit unlucky and just be a bit more expensive.
Well, look, I think it's a great grounding for David Delaney. He's such an exciting prospect. Early 20s, again, had a stellar youth career, and it's lovely to see someone with that bit of pace, hunger, speed, muscular athleticism, and again, good bowling from David Delaney. He'll be delighted with this, and I think it does justice more so to his spell than anything else, this, because he's been a little bit unlucky.
Yeah, I think just proving a little bit too good for Mark Watt right here. Perhaps a top order batsman might have thought that was a half volley, but just too quick. Watt looking to clear his front leg and hammer the ball down the ground, but no timing at all.
Now, you know what I don't want to see, Andrew, here it is. I don't want to see a slower ball bouncer. I don't want to see anything like that from David Delaney. I want to see it full and straight, and either doing what he's doing or hitting the stumps here.
Does go full and straight, and Mark Watt plays about the most extraordinary shot you'll see, because he comes the whole way across his stumps, manages to scoop it past Gary Wilson behind the wickets and Andy Balbirnie at short fine leg. Talk us through this shot on the replay, Alan.
Well, this is an extraordinary shot. He's just moved around. Fantastically well bowled. You can't argue with that, and you can see the disappointment on David Delaney's face. Don't you worry, David, my friend. Nothing wrong with that. Just a fantastic cricket shot. It was an excellent delivery. It was interesting. I had a conversation with Roland Lefebvre, who was a beautifully controlled bowler in his day, bowled a lot for Somerset at the death. And he said to me a very interesting point. He said, you can bowl a bad ball and it goes for nothing. But you can bowl a good ball and something like that happens. And again, it doesn't make a bad ball any better, but he was just making the point you must have a plan. And that was something the Dutch didn't do yesterday. I'm happy for David Delaney. I know his 4 overs have gone for 40, but he's bowled well here today.
Yeah, 4 overs, 1 for 40 will be what ends up in the book for David Delaney, but perhaps doesn't showcase just how impressive a spell it was. And as you said, the beautiful final delivery that he bowled there ended up being scooped away for 4 by Mark Watt. 6 deliveries remain in the innings, and it's going to be Stuart Thompson who opened the bowling to close out and bowl the final over of the first innings. Safian Sharif hits that one down the ground. Mark Watt's going to run hard and look to try to push for 2. The throw comes in from Harry Tector, but it's very far wide of Gary Wilson, perhaps throwing to the wrong end as well. And somehow Scotland scramble back for 2.
That's good running from Scotland. I would have backed certainly Harry Tector really threw to the wrong end there, and he knows. You can see the disappointment on his face. That had to come back to Stuart Thompson at the bowler's end.
Yeah, and the throw was wide as well of Gary Wilson, so even though Safian Sharif was slow in turning, he was always getting back, and Gary Wilson had to put his body on the line. He's in a bit of pain there. He's just going to need a minute. I think it's caught that area just above the very short wicket-keeping pads that you can see on your screen there. Thudded into his leg. He did save the extra overthrows, but he's in a little bit of pain, the Irish skipper.
Because there are your elbow, Andrew. places to get hit. And of course,
Well bowled by Thompson right into the block hole. Sharif can only dig it out to cover for a single.
we're not allowed to talk about the other area, which isn't good for you or I. But there we are.
4 deliveries remain now. Scotland 184 for 7 on what is simply a glorious day here in North County Dublin. We're in Fingal. It's Malahide Cricket Club, the host of this GS Holding T20 International Series. And if we have 3 more days like this after today, we're going to be in for a great week of cricket.
Isn't it nice to see a good smothering of people? There's a nice healthy crowd around the banks here, which is a lovely feature of Malahide Cricket Club. South African style, those banked places.
Looks for the scoop shot again. He pulls it off. Really good bat in from Mark Watt. Gets it over. Gary Wilson and the short fine leg. That's Gareth Delaney. Fine leg in the circle. That's what the batsmen look to go to now. The ramp shot.
Well, it's its execution again. Fine leg in. It's just so inviting with pace on the ball that they do these things. And it's very difficult for a bowler in these circumstances. Ultimately, we saw in the last over with David Delaney, perfect delivery. Watt getting it away to fine leg, and now that one just bit back of a length, a bit easier for Watt.
Yeah, changing the field. Fine leg has now gone back. Gareth Delaney, third man, come up into the circle. Really good from Stuart Thompson. Finds the block hole. Watt can only dig it out for a crucial dot ball. Going to be a big chase this for Ireland. They're going to need about 10 and over. 9.5 and over perhaps.
It's a good pitch, Andrew. Very fast outfield. Difficult ground to defend. And Ireland now with a lot of strikers in their team. So it'll be an interesting run chase. A very interesting game. But these two balls, every ball is important, but these two are very, very important.
And that's fortune for Mark Watt, because third man David Delaney, who'd come up into the circle because of the scoop shot, it wasn't where Watt intended to hit it. It flies away off the outside edge. Misfortune for Stuart Thompson. It was nearly a wicket, but it did go over the head of David Delaney, and it's going to run away for another boundary 4.
Precious runs these for Scotland at the end of the innings, and this is good work from their tail, it has to be said. Andrew, I wouldn't have betted at the loss of McLeod that they might have got to this point. So 1 ball remaining.
Yeah, the final ball of the first innings, and this is the third match of the series. It's the clash of the Celts. Ireland against Scotland. Host Ireland bowling first after losing the toss. It's just going to be a single to end the innings. Andy Balbirnie's wise enough to not throw that delivery, so just going to be 1, and Scotland will finish with 193 for 7 from their 20 overs. A really entertaining innings of cricket.
Yeah, very entertaining on all parts, I have to say. Scotland with Coetzee and Muncie at the top of the order. Out early, Ireland on top of that particular point, but McLeod's innings was just so much poise, touch, flair, no big power hitting, but his 70 off 40 balls was a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, Sharif and Watt, they're jogging off to get their batting kit taken off, because they're going to need to be bowling. We'll probably see Sharif take the new ball, and that left arm spin of Mark Watt as well. Let's take a look at the batting card. It was an innings that was really built around Callum McLeod at number 3, 72 off 42, but just for a moment, George Munsey threatened to do exactly as he did yesterday, Alan.
He certainly did, and he played with a lot of guile too. His placement was one of the features for me in that power play. But he went for 30, could see it for 10. And as you say, the linchpin of that innings was McLeod, and a lovely cameo at the end by the tail there to bring Scotland to 193.
And spare a thought as well for Oliver Hares coming back into international cricket. 26 off 17, showing some promise, so keep an eye on him over the rest of the week and building up to the T20 World Cup qualifiers. There's the Irish bowling figures. Mark Adair, surprisingly just 3 overs. Expensive today, none for 36. He's been a wicket taker throughout the summer, but none for him today. Boyd Rankin the standout, Alan.
Yeah, without a doubt. 3 for 29 from his 4 overs. Did a very good job. Perhaps the only disappointment in Ireland's bowling display was the number of wides, extras as we see them there. You'd probably budget for about 5, but overall it's going to be a very interesting game and a run chase, because this is a very good pitch, Andrew, as we know. Phil Frost, the groundsman, and a lightning outfield. The ball is passing across this outfield If it's past you, it's 4. So it's going to be a really, really interesting run chase.
Yeah, that's the state of the game as we go to the innings break. Scotland making 193 for 7. Can they extend their lead at the top of the GS Holding T20 International Tri-Series table? We're going to find out, and we'll be back with you in about 10 to 15 minutes' time.
Think this is fun for me? You think I'm having fun?
It certainly wasn't much fun defending your action in Tokyo. Do you have eyes on the target?
Is it her?
I can't tell from these photos. I need better shots.
Yeah, no, well...
Just don't lose her this time.
Thank you for flying Turkish Airlines.
You waiting for someone?
No, just looking.
This is Joan. She works in HR and has the same routine every single day. Searching through CVs, answering calls, and searching online for the dream contractor. And after all that, she still has 10 jobs to fill. Well, there's a great solution. Tech Finder. It allows Joan to connect directly with IT contractors for her location, viewing their daily rates and CVs, enabling calls, and signing contracts, and it has saved a fortune. Simply sign up, choose your subscription plan, and you have access to over 50,000 candidates immediately. Join Tech Finder today and connect with thousands of technology contractors.
The choices we make define who we are. Like the decision many of us have made to switch to Toyota Hybrid, to a smooth, more economical drive. Working towards a cleaner, brighter future for ourselves and for our children. Because the world we want to live in should be made better by the car we choose to drive. Toyota, built for a better world.
Worried about your next contract opportunity? Tired of wasting time online searching for the right one? Well, let the opportunities find you. Use Tech Finder. It's a free service that connects you directly with companies that match your skills and helps you plan ahead for upcoming contract opportunities. It's easy to use. Simply upload your CV, create your profile, and select when you're available. Take the pain out of searching and be found by thousands of companies globally in your location and at your daily rates in real time. Join Tech Finder today. Get connected and be found. Available on all app stores and at techfinder.com.
Yeah, I think this competition can be quite challenging. It's often very hard to get a win, and within the 3 days, all the time you are fighting for bonus points. And I think to do that, you need to be very consistent across every innings of all the games. And I think we managed.
Give me a count, please. Welcome back and good afternoon. You're very welcome and you're joining us here in Malahide Cricket Club in North County Dublin. That's the match summary on your screen after the first innings of this, the third match of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. Scotland have made 193 for 7 from their 20 overs. due mainly to Callum MacLeod, who's top scored with 72 from number 3. Andrew Leonard here, and I've got Alan Lewis to my left. And because of the absence of Paul Sterling, Alan, we're going to see a new opening partnership for the first time at the top of the order. The Leinster Lightning teammates Kevin O'Brien will be joined by Gareth Delaney.
Yes, indeed. We were wondering who might be doing the job. I felt it might have been Stuart Thompson, but Gareth Delaney, it's a position he bats on a regular basis. His format of the game, and a big striker of the ball. And of course, as you mentioned earlier, Andrew, Leinster Lightning teammates, so should be a good understanding, and should be a very interesting and exciting opening salvo. And we have Ali Evans, who's going to bowl from the Dublin Road end, a long-time servant of Scottish cricket, Andrew.
Yeah, he was the star with the ball for Scotland yesterday, taking 2 wickets in his very first over. It knocked the stuffing out of that Dutch chase, including a brilliant return, caught him bowled. So he'll be looking to repeat the dose for his team today, and if he can, Scotland will be right on top. Ireland require 194 to win. Kevin O'Brien on strike. He's off to a confident start. It's only a punch off his legs, but look at the timing from O'Brien. Mark Watt is going to chase in vain. That's an outstanding start from the Leinster Lightning man, who's in imperious touch at the moment.
Well, we did say this outfield was quick, and that, as you say, Andrew, was literally pushed on the leg side, and it seemed to gather pace away from Mark Watt there, who's at a wideish mid-on, and already slip is out. Callum MacLeod coming out to an orthodox mid-wicket position.
Good comeback from Ali Evans, finds the block hole. O'Brien digs that out. Ireland played a series of 5 inter-squad games, a little bit like Australia did in the lead up to the Ashes last week at YMCA Cricket Club in South Dublin, and the star of the show was the oldest man in the squad, Kevin O'Brien. 2 90s, a 40, a couple of 30s, smashing the ball, smashing his teammates to all parts.
Well, I saw a few of those, and he was in imperious nick in those matches, and it was interesting too that, you know, totals of 170, 180 were chased with relative ease, and if Kevin O'Brien gets going here, that could be the same story.
Yeah, and the thing about O'Brien's elevation to this top of the Irish order in the T20I format is he's really relished it. Just 8 innings he's had with Paul Sterling so far, and they've averaged over 50 as an opening partnership. He's got a different man at the far end, but he's taking on the new ball. He loves the challenge. He says it's the best time to bat in a T20.
Well, it's something I think Ireland have missed a trick on up to this point. Kevin O'Brien, generally in this format of the game, was sitting down at 5, and really it wasn't the position for him. And it's interesting, as you say, taking that opportunity with Paul Sterling, and they've done it with great success at the top of the order.
Clipped off his legs. There's protection out at deep square leg. Just going to be a single. Let's take a quick look at this Irish lineup, because it's not just at the top of the order that they've got the power hitting. That's the Scottish lineup. Let's take a look at the Irish side. It's right the way down, all the way maybe to number 8 or 9. All of these batsmen can clear the ropes.
And of course it's clear in that lineup there's certainly no way Boyd Rankin will be coming in at 5, but we don't know what the twist is, but we certainly know Andrew Balbirnie will be coming in at 3. But there's a significant number of hitters. I would anticipate Harry Tector might be at 4.
Quick single called for by Kevin O'Brien immediately, and really well run. And it's going to be buzzers. So we're going to have at least 4 runs. We're going to have 5, in fact. And the 5 are going to be signalled as leg buys. So bonus freebies. And they're coming from Alistair Evans' errant throw.
Very poor throw from Ali Evans there, but it just does show you, and perhaps that's part of a new hunger that Ireland are talking about. Kevin O'Brien tends to not fancy that sort of stuff in terms of these quicker leg buys, but he was away like a shot, and that's a present from an Irish point of view.
Yeah, Gareth Delaney not off the mark yet, as those will go down as 5 leg buys, but O'Brien back onto strike. Short ball pulled into the deep. That's absolutely huge from Kevin O'Brien. It's going to soar over the rope and over the retaining boundary fence. The biggest 6 of the day. What a strike.
Well, what a fantastic strike. And isn't it very interesting, Andrew, when something like that happens on the previous delivery, that is the sort of thing that happens. So it takes Ireland to 16 without loss at the end of the first over.
There's a pitch and putt course up the way, Alan. I think that one might be on the 9th green, because that ball is going to have to be fetched by a member of the public who's going through the park up in Malahide.
Well, that is a huge hit from Kevin O'Brien. You felt he was waiting for that, Andrew. Dropped that little bit short. He was onto it like a light. And he moves to 11 from 5 deliveries.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually shared a train out this morning with Kevin O'Brien. Just ended up on the same dart carriage as him when I was having a chat. He said that he watched all of the live stream yesterday, and he did note the Scottish bowlers were digging it into the pitch. So doing his homework yesterday has paid dividends there. The short ball again from Evans, we saw him do it all day yesterday. Dispatched over the rope for 6.
Well, that's interesting that you say that, and it's a measure of the preparation, of course, that these players put into these things. They do watch a lot of video footage to see styles, different types of areas that people bowl, and well done, Kevin O'Brien, for that, because he's got Ireland off to an excellent start here. And unlike yesterday, Andrew, Scotland starting with spin.
Yeah, Hamza Tahir coming into the team after being left out yesterday with his slow left arm orthodox. He's going to open from the Malahide Castle end. And Gareth Delaney's going to hit him towards mid-on, but no run there. Hamza Tahir has had a absolutely superb start to his ODI career, taking 10 wickets in just 3 ODIs, including a 5-wicket haul against Oman in that ICC Cricket World Cup League 2, where Scotland won 3 of their 4 games, but they won all 3 that Hamza Tariq played.
That's interesting that you say that, Andrew. I haven't seen much of him, but there's not a huge amount to gather to the crease. Not a huge amount of energy, but the top of the action. Lovely to watch good orthodox left-arm spinners. They're a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, bowls a good pace. Will get a little bit of turn on the ball to here. Gareth Delaney looking to give himself room outside the leg stump. Delaney performs this opener's role for the Leinster Lightning in the Interprovincial Championships here, Alan.
Yes, he does, and he likes spin. He's a belligerent hitter of a cricket ball, and you've already seen that with his first 2 strikes. Wee bit unlucky there not to pierce the field on the offside. Went like a shell.
Smashed into the offside, and for the 3rd time in 3 balls, Gareth Delaney picks out the fielder, but they will get through for the single this time. He's off the mark.
I like that too. Immediately calling one. It's an area very difficult to marshal mid-off and mid-on. Of course, mid-off at the edge of the circle there, but it was hit hard, but he went quickly, bringing Kevin O'Brien back on strike. Such an important part of this T20 is how you use this power play. And again, it was something we saw earlier in the season against Zimbabwe, of course, up in Breedy. Sterling and O'Brien going like a train, and then Balbirnie coming in with his touch and deft player, quite like McLeod in many ways. Lovely touch. Andrew Balbirnie sums up weights of innings extremely well.
Slight change in the field for Kevin O'Brien, interesting to see. So mid-off goes back to long off, and that's Michael Leask, one of the best fielders, with a bit of a fumble. Just going to be a single, but the other protection is out on the leg side. It's George Munsey out at deep square leg. Just 2 fielders allowed outside the 30-yard circle for the first 6 overs.
Yes, indeed. And again, it's always interesting to just see how quickly now long on going back for Delaney. Mid-off in at the edge of the circle.
Powered again to mid-off who's come up. That's Safian Sharif, but plenty of time to get through for a single. Good tight stuff and a tight start this from Hamza Tahir.
I get the sense we're not going to die wondering here, Andrew. There's a lot of hitting going on.
You can see again just on your screen the change in field for the 2 batsmen. Long off going back, long on coming into mid-on. Down the leg side, and that's going to be, I think it's signalled wides by Rizwan Akram. I wonder, did Kevin O'Brien feel like he got something on that? He's not going to mind. It's going to be 5 more runs to the total. 5 wides.
And Cross not happy behind the stumps there at all. Poor delivery. And again, it's another gift from an Irish point of view. Now 24 already, and we're not at the end of the 2nd over, Andrew.
Yeah, such a different start to this Irish innings in comparison to the Netherlands yesterday. Hit into the offside, dropped. It's burst through his hands, and it's hit with such power. Richie Berrington could only palm it over. It's going to soar all the way for 4 with just 1 bounce. That's how hard Kevin O'Brien can hit a cricket ball, but that was definitely a chance.
No, there's no doubt of that. That was a chance. Richie Berrington would be very disappointed with that. It did go hard, but at this level, that's a sort of catch that should be taken, but it hasn't been, and Ireland have advanced to 28 for off the 2 overs that we've seen so far.
So 2 overs gone, 28 for none Ireland, but it could have been 24 for 1 because Kevin O'Brien was dropped at cover by Richie Berrington, Scotland's veteran, one of their most experienced players, but it pinged off that new SS bat of Kevin O'Brien's. Hits the ball with such power, and with the fact it's a new ball, that was a very difficult chance.
I'd say you're launching in for a few of those cast-offs, SS cast-offs, Lendog. Coming in at 11, of course, with the Pembroke doing laps of honour as you win league titles. I know what you're like.
Change in bowling again. It's going to be more left arm spin, and Mark Watt's going to be dispatched his first delivery from the Dublin road end. Gareth Delaney inside out over extra cover, a little bit of an edge perhaps. Plenty of power though to go for 4 more.
Well, do you know what I like about this? Again, Gareth Delaney giving himself that little bit of room to swat it away. No fielders out in the offside to Watt. And this is exactly what Ireland need, this youthful exuberance coming into the Delaney, a prodigious hitter of the cricket ball, has proved that right through this format of the game.
Angled into his pads, he looked to access the onside. That's an area he does love, Gareth Delaney. But no contact with the bat, just going to be a dot. It was Delaney that starred against Middlesex for Leinster Lightning earlier in the summer, and that innings of 50 odd really probably gave him the belief he can do it at international level. He's doing it at international level. Look at that for a shot. Alan Lewis, shorter, cut away, finds the gap between Berrington and Munsey all the way along the ground for 4.
That's a fantastic shot from Gareth Delaney. Again, giving himself room, assessing the pace of this pitch, and his placement again superb there through the offside for 4. Fantastic start this for Ireland.
Power down the ground, that's a maximum. Outstanding strike from Gareth Delaney, straight into the black side screen. Another maximum for Ireland, the first of Delaney's innings.
Well, that is trademark Delaney. He has just cleared the left leg, and that has gone flat, straight to the side screen for 6. And this is exactly the type of work that Graham Ford will be bringing to this team. This is the type of cricket that he wants to see Ireland play at T20 level.
Really well bowled, but attempted to be dug out by Gareth Delaney, and perhaps just coming off the glove of Matthew Cross as well. They'll get back for 2. Good comeback from Watt, but more runs coming.
Yeah, it's just the intent, Andrew, that I'm just loving watching here from Ireland. 44 already, and we're not through to the end of the 3rd over. Great to watch.
Hit into the offside, really well fielded by Richie Berrington. They won't have time for a single. You can see Gareth Delaney in his setup as we get to the end of the 3rd over. Ireland 44 for none, off to a flying start. Very tall, very upright, almost a little bit like Graham Gooch in his backlift.
Well, I think the thing is he does stay so tall and upright, and he keeps his head leg side of the ball, which is the key thing, so he can free those arms on the offside, which he's done. And this is just a symptom of the types of things these players are building towards at this level all the time. So Ireland will be delighted with this start, Andrew. There's no doubt about that. And it's going to get Scotland thinking. And it was interesting too yesterday, Andrew. We've had 2 overs of spin in this innings from Scotland, which yesterday started with 6 overs of seam.
Yeah, I spoke yesterday about how I thought Kyle Coates, the Scottish captain, did a really good job at just keeping it simple. Immediately, the pyrotechnics of Delaney and O'Brien sent him a touch into panic. We're going to see a 4th different bowler. Why was Safian Sharif not opening the bowling?
It's a little bit that I can't understand. He started very well yesterday, Sharif.
He is into the attack and he almost finds a wicket immediately. But again, good intent in the running between O'Brien and Delaney, and good communication calls him through immediately for the single. And it came off the inside edge, so a run to Kevin O'Brien.
Well, again, this is good from Delaney. You can see backing up superbly there. And it's this type of intent I'm enjoying watching from Ireland. Gareth Delaney pushing Kevin O'Brien the whole way. Belligerent player, of course, we know Kevin O'Brien. Loves an amble single, does our Kevin, but Gareth Delaney's pushing him into new territory here.
Cut away by Delaney, it pierces the infield, and as soon as he gets it through the ring, it's always going to be 4 on a sunny day like today. He hits the ball so hard, Gareth Delaney. What a shot this is.
Well, it's just so enjoyable to watch again, clearing that left leg, freeing himself up from the offside. Back of a length, just that little bit wider than he would have wanted Sharif. And it's banged away for 4. And Ireland within touching distance here, Andrew, of 50.
No run there. Really well fielded by Richie Berrington, making up for that drop catch. Good stop. Almost a chance of a run out of the non-striker's end.
Even interesting there, Kevin O'Brien getting into the act, looking for a single there. Clearly wasn't there. And gladly from an Irish perspective he got back. But interesting too that Delaney was looking for buzzers, which of course was a lovely gift that Ireland received in the first over from Ali Evans.
Nicely bowled by Safian Sharif. Perhaps showing his captain, why didn't I have the new ball? Why did we open with left arm spin?
Well, I couldn't agree more, Andrew. And again, getting that up in the block hole. It's the one area that really you can bowl with some sort of element of safety. If that is the true word for it, with the way the batting skills have just gone from strength to strength at this level.
Hammered into the offside, over the offside. Going to be 4 more for Delaney. That's the 50 up. Inside 4 overs. It's taken just 23 deliveries, and Ireland are already 53 for none.
Well, we spoke earlier when this side was selected that there was a new energy and excitement about these young players coming into the team. And again, it's something that I know for a fact Gareth Delaney practices a hell of a lot. This power hitting, this hitting the ball as hard as he can, early stages. And as you said about Kevin earlier, probably the best time to bat the ball is that little bit harder. You can get it away. And this is a fantastic start for Ireland. 53 now, coming to the end of the 4th over.
Ireland well ahead of the required run rate. You can see it in the graphics at the bottom of your screen there. They need 141 more. 8.72 and over. What a shot from Gareth Delaney. Mid-off is up in the circle. He simply clears his front leg. 1 bounce over the rope. That's 4 more. 13 off the over. Brilliant batting. 57 for none. End of 4. Gareth Delaney elevated up the order, opening the batting for Ireland for the first time in any format in this GS Holding T20 International Series match between Ireland and Scotland, and he's taking his opportunity with both hands, Alan Lewis.
There's absolutely no doubt about it. 30 of 16 deliveries, and this is exactly what Gareth Delaney does, and really he's taken the leading role here from his senior partner Kevin O'Brien, who I'm sure is absolutely thrilled and delighted at the other end, because as I say, real excitement and buzz around this squad.
Change of bowling's brought about a wicket. Kevin O'Brien has worked it off his hip, but he's unfortunately for him picked out. Hamza Tahir around the corner, a little bit like Steve Smith, got suckered in by Stuart Broad in the Ashes. Misfortune for O'Brien, but a brilliant catch, really well held by Hamza Tahir.
Well, that was a great catch for Hamza Tahir. Fantastic catch, and Kevin O'Brien can really count himself a bit unfortunate there, to be perfectly frank. He got all of that, and a fantastic catch by Tahir low down, and really that's a bit of a gift for Scotland, Andrew, it has to be said.
It was the 4th change of bowling in 4 overs. I just wondered, was Kyle Coates getting a bit of the shades of Peter Seeler from yesterday, rotating his bowlers, but this change worked. Ali Evans came back into the attack after bowling the opening over of the match, and he's found the wicket, the big one of Kevin O'Brien, the man in form for Ireland. He's gone, and he'll be replaced by Pembroke and Leinster Lightning's Andrew Balbirnie.
Yes, it's bringing, of course, Andrew Balbirnie to the crease, and certainly over the last calendar year, Andrew, Andy Balbirnie's form has been absolutely stellar in all formats of the game, and he's clearly now probably Ireland's most accomplished batsman.
Yeah, you talk about Balbirnie's form being stellar, particularly in the ODI format. Across the year of 2018 and 2019, he's made over 1,000 ODI runs with 5 different centuries in that time. He's grown into becoming Ireland's linchpin in all 3 formats.
Well, it's interesting, and we've spoken many times. It took Andrew some time. There was no doubting his talent. Took him 19 innings in an Irish jersey to get his first 50. But like many players, and I think when there's a belief in a player, always better for Ireland to get those type of players into the squad, into the team, and they're reaping the rewards now.
That's a lovely cover drive to start with. He's going to find a boundary from his very first delivery. Over pitch from Alistair Evans. We didn't see much of that from him yesterday, and that's too easy for a batsman of Andy Balbirnie's class.
Well, I think one of the features, and you can see it there, of the improvement in Andrew Balbirnie's batting is his head position. And it's something I was speaking to him about 2 weeks ago about this, and it's something himself and Graham Ford work on religiously day by day. Graham Ford onto him about this head position. Get into a clear striking position. You can get your full weight through the ball.
Worked off his hip by Balbirnie into the deep. That's Michael Lee Scout at deep square leg. Flat throw in, just going to be a single. He's a different type of player, though, to Delaney and O'Brien. He's not a bludgeoner of the ball, Balbirnie. He's much more technically correct, a little bit like Callum McLeod.
Well, I think one of the things in the features, he's got all the strong shots. He sweeps brilliantly. He plays down the ground brilliantly. You know, and when you think about it and you look at players around the world, probably the greatest exponent in ODI cricket, Virat Kohli, you don't see too many reverse sweeps from him. He believes in his strong shots. And when you have them, and you can use them as effectively as he can, it's wonderful. And a good shot there from strong shot Gareth Delaney, pushed away on the leg side, and very pleasing this from Gareth Delaney.
Could Gareth Delaney be causing Ireland some selection problems? He's realistically been picked in his first few games as a leg spinner who's batted 8 up the order, shining at the top.
Here's the thing from me. With Mark Adair potentially at 8 in this lineup with a strike rate of 170, 180.
Pulled into the deep in front of square, and he's got all of that, Balbirnie. It's going to soar into the boundary hoardings for 6. They've seized on that short length. Here's another one who was watching the live stream yesterday, Andy Balbirnie. Well, 6 more.
Of course, they are neighbours, so they might have been talking with one another last night. But that is not a place to bowl to Andrew Balbirnie. Fantastic puller and hooker of the ball, and he's just smashed that over mid-wicket for 6. But it's something I was going to bring up with you, Andrew, because I actually believe that this innings may propel Gareth Delaney into a role that if Sterling and O'Brien open, someone like him can come in the power play and still keep going.
Short ball again, Balbirnie not able to get that one away. That's going to end the 5th over. Ireland, they're flying despite the loss of O'Brien. They're 69 for 1.
And it's also a time, Andrew, where we change our commentators for the next 5 overs. It'll be John Kenny and Garfield Harrison.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, brisk start from Ireland, to say the least. 69 for 1. Kevin O'Brien, the batsman, out for 17. Andy Balbirnie, having crashed that beautiful 6 in their previous overs, joined Gareth Delaney, looking pretty imperious so far. His 31 off 17 deliveries, and Garfield has had a nice start from Ireland's point of view, isn't it?
Well, the Irish coach Graham Ford will be absolutely delighted with this start, with Gareth Delaney stepping in there for Paul Sterling. It really gives us another great option now.
Oh, what a shot that is. Straight over the bowler's head, stand and deliver. My word, what a shot from Delaney. Sharif bowling from the Malahide road end. Absolutely clubbed that was.
Yeah, our viewers will see this, that, he just clears his left leg out of the way and just swings through the line, and he hits the ball so hard, it's almost impossible to bowl at when he's in this sort of form.
You wouldn't believe it's only his 3rd T20 international. It's in the air. There's a fielder down there, but it's On a drop safe. It's only his third international, as I mentioned. His highest score is 12 before today. He made his debut against Zimbabwe in July of this year in Breedy, up near Derry, Londonderry. But he's well past his highest score so far, and this is great stuff from Delaney. And big news today, obviously, that Paul Sterling, not playing today for Ireland, has a niggle. It wasn't risked by captain Gary Wilson, but what a replacement. Push up the order. Gareth Delaney and Kevin O'Brien put on 57 for the first wicket, and there's 4 more. Pulled away to the leg side, and he's liking what he's seeing now, Gareth Delaney, and this bowling from Sharif.
Yeah, he's given it the old dummy. He's faked to go to the leg side, and then he's got inside that short ball and pulled it all the way along the ground like an absolute rocket for 4 runs. Scintillating start from this Irish team.
115 runs required now. A run rate in around 8, and at this level, on this pitch, on this fast outfield, keep wickets in hand. That's very gettable.
Again, you know, what a credit it is to the Malahide groundsman there, Philip Frost, for preparing such a great pitch for these Tri-Series games. It just makes the game so much more enjoyable. The ball is disappearing to all parts. The bowlers are scratching their heads, not knowing where to bowl it. Batsmen are very much on top, and long may it continue.
Well, this form of the game has seen Ireland slip down the world rankings to 15th. They need to improve on that. And that's going to slip through the wicketkeeper's hands and roll all the way for 4. 4 byes indeed.
Yeah, 4 byes. The wicketkeeper will be disappointed he's let that one through. Yeah, it's come back at the batter and
just dipped in front of him, really,
yeah.
Matthew Cross.
Yeah, he's dove over the top of it. Yeah, another easy 4 runs for Ireland. Now 84 in 5.5 overs, so we're just at the end of the power play. So I wonder, can Ireland push it up to 90 here after 6 overs?
Yeah, just 2 fielders allowed outside of the inner circle for the first 6 overs, the power play as they call it. That's nicely dug up by Balbirnie. Good stop. Just the 1 to the total.
I think the striking thing for me in this Irish reply is the power.
End of 6, 85 for 1. $85 for 1 at the end of 6, and it is the power so far we've seen from Ireland.
John, you know, this is now, you know, T20 cricket has turned into a power game, and you know, you need to have power. You also need to be young, dynamic, athletic, and you know, from what we've seen today from the Irish team, certainly that they tick all of those boxes. But it's the power that these guys are hitting the ball with now, and the sound from the bat is just like a bullet out of a gun. It really has to be seen to be believed.
It's probably not a game for the purists who like the test cricket, but it certainly brings in the crowds. We know we've seen the success of the T20s around the world, particularly the IPL. And it's going to be a change of bowling now from the Dublin Road end. Hamza Tahir switching ends. Spin bowler, left hand around the wicket to Andy Balbirnie, cuts him away for a single.
Yeah, you know, if you're the spin bowler here now, to here, you know, you're sort of wondering, right, what do I do to bowl it a wee bit slower, to bowl it a wee bit quicker? What do I do? You have to mix up, because if he bowls it all the same, it will disappear. That first one there seemed to be a wee bit slower than his earlier over that he was bowling. So hopefully the David Delaney Gareth Delaney will get on top of this as well.
Oh, it's well bowled by Tahir. Ireland are going to get 4 from that. Delaney maybe slightly fortuitous, but it trickles all the way to the boundary for 4 welcome runs for Ireland.
Yes, that's a good delivery actually from Tahir, and he's counted himself very unlucky there. He's done everything right, and it's just squeezed off the outside edge and gone down to the boundary for 4. Everything on this ground seems to go for 4.
Yeah, it's a very fast outfield, all right. Hamza Tahir, 23 years of age. Made his debut for Scotland against Pakistan in June of last year. It's his fourth ODI, or it's fourth T20. And pause because that one was hammered down the ground, but straight to the fielder down there. And it's just a single. Ireland pushing on towards the 100 mark, and we're only in the 7th over.
Yes, Ireland really well ahead of the game here at the minute now. Only 6.3 overs gone, and it's just a fantastic start.
Nicely tucked off his legs by Balbirnie.
Yes, I've seen Andrew Balbirnie play lots of 50-over cricket, and I've seen him play the test matches as well. So I haven't seen so much of him on this T20 format, but he's adopted really well so far. And I mean, he's only in 8 balls and he's 14 already.
He cemented his place at number 3 for Ireland in every forms of the game, including the T20. They're going to go back for a quick second here as the throw comes in from McLeod. Well run. Turned that 1 into 2 quite well.
Great bit of running there by the 2 Irishmen. And
yeah, Delaney in particular coming to the danger end.
Yeah, putting the Scottish fielders all under great pressure.
Good running. That's a wonderful 50 for Gareth Delaney. And his 3rd T20 international for Ireland off just 25 deliveries. Gareth Delaney, the young man, perhaps the future of Irish T20 cricket, gets great celebrations with Andy Balbirnie. End of 7, 95 for 1, and a well-merited 50 off just 25. 2 runs a ball.
Absolutely fantastic performance so far by Gareth Delaney, and he really has given the Irish selectors and the coach a lot of food for thought now. As another strong batter now for the T20 lineup, and he really hasn't put a foot wrong and merited all his 50 runs perfectly. As you say, John, 2 runs a ball. Just think about that. 2 runs a ball, 25 balls, he's got 50. It's an incredible piece of hitting.
99 required now for victory. Ireland chasing 194 for the win against Scotland, who overpowered Netherlands in their opening game. This is the 3rd match of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series here at a sunny Malahide. First game washed out, Ireland against Netherlands. Both sides got 2 points each. Delaney just down the ground yesterday. It was a 58-run victory for Scotland against Netherlands, having been put into bat, punished some poor bowling by Netherlands. Today, Scotland winning the toss, deciding to back themselves and bat. 193 for 7, but Ireland getting rid of Munsey and Kurtzer quite early in their innings, the 2 batsmen that plundered the Netherlands bowling yesterday, and that gave them the platform. And now, with just the 1 departed, Kevin O'Brien gone for 17, Gareth Delaney gone past 50, joined by Aldi Balbirnie, and Ireland pushing on towards the 100 mark, and we're only in the 8th over.
Yes, and I mean, Ireland's got such a good start now. They really don't need to do anything silly at all now. Really, run a ball and they'll be home comfortably at this stage. So it's just do nothing silly and just knock the ball about and hit the bad one for 4, and it should end up a comfortable run chase.
Safi Sharif makes light work of that fielding at the cover boundary. It's Watt who's changed ends, having bowled his opening over from the Dublin Road end, turned around the corner. But Tahir is there at short fine leg.
A very rare dot ball, John, which I'm sure the Scottish captain will be celebrating, because it's been really difficult for him to put a halt to this assault from the 2 Irish batters. Interesting there too. He bowled that one there off about 25 yards from behind the umpire, which again is a tactic I don't mind saying, because you gotta get the batsman thinking. Things is, if you do it all the same, it'll just keep disappearing. Gotta change it up.
Down the track he goes. There's a man out there, and that should be out. Nicely taken. And that's the second Irish wicket to go. And Delaney perishes in the deep. Nice catch down below the ankles. And as you said, Watt vary things up. And he finally gets his reward. And Ireland lose the second wicket at 99. Delaney gone for a very, very powerful 52 off 27 deliveries. And Ireland have lost their second wicket.
Listen, he'll be absolutely delighted, Gareth Delaney, with that knock, and the Irish team will be delighted with it. But wee bit of an experience there, because he didn't need to do that. You know, just knock it to long off, along the ground, take a single, keep the score rotating, because he's broke the back of this innings. But listen, he learned from that, and it's just reading the game. Irish batters now are way ahead of this game, so it's just a question now of knocking the ball about and staying at home and not doing anything silly. And it should be, a comfortable run chase from here on in.
Well, what a moment for the Tector family. Harry Tector makes his bow in international cricket in a T20 international. The captain of the Ireland Wolves, or A side, making his international debut today. Involved obviously heavily in the field when Scotland were batting, but now he gets a chance to bat. Coming in at number 4 for Ireland, young man from YMCA, plays for Northern Knights, just 19 years of age, captain of the Ireland Wolves, right-handed batsman, and a big, big day in the lives of the Tector family, and Heatley, who looks after us here in terms of our presentation and our coverage of these T20 internationals. Congratulations to the Tector family and to Harry in particular.
Yes, a very proud moment this afternoon when Alan Lewis, our co-commentator here, presented young Harry with his first Irish cap, and from what I've heard, it won't be the last. This will be just the first of many, and we wish him well here today. Again, we're not expecting a whole lot, Harry. Just ease yourself into the game, and hopefully you'll push on from there.
Michael Leask is coming on to bowl from the Dublin road end. Do the ad break at the end of the next over, lads.
Yes, it's our first sign of off spin from the Scottish team today, and be interested to see how this goes. He's pushing it through nice and quickly.
Oh, it's nicely played too, and that's going to go all the way. Well, Bernie's a class act. There's a lot riding on his shoulders now to try and get Ireland over the line. Just rocked back on his heels and cracked it behind square. And no way they're going to cut that one off. Beautiful shot from Balbirnie, takes him on to 20.
What a fantastic shot there from Andrew Balbirnie. Gives himself a wee bit of room. And with the length that he's given there, he's able to cut that backward of square. Again, the outfield just raced away for 4 runs.
Again, that's carved away, and that's going to go for 4 as well. Not quite as controlled as the previous shot, but it has the desired result. The last shot took Ireland past the 100 mark. Wasn't quite intending to put it there, but he'll take it.
Yeah, well, Bernie, he's seen the width there, and he's thrown the kitchen sink at it, and he's got a thick sort of outside edge there, and the ball is raced to the boundary for another 4 runs. So again, he's on 24 now off 14 balls.
Well, that's what he can do. Having hit 2 4s, just pushes the ball into the leg side and walks through for an easy single. Class player, Andy Balbirnie, 28 years of age, the Dubliner, playing in his 24th T20.
Yeah, class player Andrew Balbirnie, reads the game really well, and that's what we need now at this stage in the innings. Just nice and controlled, nothing silly, and let's hope that the young Harry Tector here gets off the mark.
It's a big moment for Harry Tector. His first run as a T20 international cricketer. Nicely played. Dug that out well, actually, Tector.
Very confident start from the young man. Notice, yes, it's number 13 on his back, John. I'm not sure I would have...
Well, there's a man down there, but he's not going to get anywhere near it, and that's clear. The ropes. What a shot down on one leg from Andy Balbirnie, and that takes Ireland to 115 for 2 at the end of 9. 9 overs down. Andy Balbirnie down on one knee, swept one for 6 to take him to 31. Incredible batting.
Just incredible what we're seeing here today. 9 overs gone. Ireland 115 for 2. Really, and they haven't done really anything silly. All they've done is got their hands through the ball and hit through the line of the ball, and it's gone for 4 or 6. But it's the sheer power, John, that really shocked me today. How hard these guys are hitting this ball now. And great entertainment, and I hope all our viewers are enjoying this wherever they're watching it in the world.
Except if you're a Scottish supporter, maybe.
Yes, well, again, the Scottish guys had a good win yesterday. Ireland really needed to get this win today to get them back in the tournament, because Scotland had certainly the advantage yesterday.
Balbirnie advanced down the track, or in fact, Detector advanced down the track just to try and get a quick single. But it was sent back by Balbirnie. Mark Watt, who got a ball with the last ball of his last over, or got a wicket at the last ball of his last over, continuing in the Malahide Road end.
Very confident start there from Harry Tector. Down the wicket, this is his second ball that he's facing in international cricket, and he's running down the wicket at the slow left arm bowler, trying to push him back down the pitch, and a lot of confidence required to do that sort of thing.
I know Paul Sterling in the Ireland lineup today had a niggle, so he wasn't risked. But he has big news in terms of Irish cricket. That's up and over the top. And that's another 4 runs. That's a beautifully controlled shot from Andy Balbirnie.
Well, for me, that's the shot of the day. Where he's got outside the ball, give himself a wee bit of room. Showed the leg stump to the bowler, and then hit it over extra cover for a 2 bounce for just an incredible cricket shot.
Yeah, into out as they call it.
It's the way these guys move around the crease now.
And it's the variety of shots as well.
Yeah, it's so difficult to bowl at them because, they're moving around all the time. The days of just standing your ground and standing in one place is gone now. So really the bowlers are going to have to find a way now to fight back, because at the minute the bat is certainly dominating the ball.
Yeah, who'll be a bowler in the T20 game? 121 for 2 off 9.4 overs. Just saying that Paul Sterling will leave Middlesex at the end of this season and sign a full-time contract with Cricket Ireland. Other news as well is that coach Graham Ford has also signed a contract extension with Ireland till 2022, but he's been linked, would you believe, with the England job as well. It's in the air from Harry Tector. Can somebody get to that? McLeod's running after it, but he can't get there. Well, that would have been a good catch if he had been running backwards or running forwards to try and get the ball, but up and over his head, and Tector got away with that.
Yes, difficult chance there. It probably wasn't a chance. He's just got enough bat on that there, Harry Tector, to pull it away from the fielder. He was going to have to try and catch that over his shoulder. Very difficult skill to do that. But luckily, from Ireland's point of view, he's got away with it, and there's 2 more runs to the Irish side.
Last ball of the 10th over then, and an appeal. Not given. They're going to walk through for a single to end the 10th over, and Ireland on to 124 for 2. Change in the commentary box. Alan Lewis will step in for the next 5 overs. 124 for 2 at the end of 10. Well, Ireland in very good nick. 124 for 2 at the end of 10 overs. Andy Balbirnie still there on 36 off 18. And Harry Tector having joined him on 5 off 5. Men out, Kevin O'Brien. Caught to here, Bold Evans for 17. And Gareth Delaney, what got him for 52 off just 27 deliveries. Pushed up the order in the absence of Paul Sterling. Alan Lewis is with me. Ireland in very good position here, needing just 70 for victory.
Well, it's been a pleasure to watch so far, John. And we talked earlier about an excitement with this squad, and Gareth Delaney has certainly answered some questions, and it's going to be very interesting moving forward. The continued progression of this team, and a total really that Ireland should get from here. Balbirnie imperious on 36. Played all his strong shots around the ground, and again we have Michael Berrington coming into the attack now.
Richie Berrington.
Sorry, Richie Berrington.
Indeed.
Excuse me. Sorry, John, for that little slip.
No problem. 32-year-old. Made 20 in his at bat. Clipped away by Tector. I'll come back for a second here. McLeod's the one who has the stronger arm. Sharif just a little scoop to him. It's nicely clipped off the legs.
Well, of course, there's a lot of free area there, John. Scotland going with 3 out in the leg side here. Runs aplenty on the leg side, and I'm sure Harry Tector will be eyeing that up as he did there. He can get some comfortable 2s here, particularly in front of square.
The run rate's falling all the time. It's less than 7 and over now. And with wickets in hand, 68 runs required now for Ireland. They certainly will fancy their chances of going on and taking their first victory in this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. First game washed out. Scotland winning game 2 yesterday by 58 runs. That's clubbed away. That's a nice shot too. And a first boundary for Harry Tector, up on his toes. Nice shot.
Excellent shot. It was a slower ball from Berrington, and Harry Tector, the bit he did very well there was he waited and bombed it away on the leg side past Captain Coetzee, who must be really clutching at straws at this stage with this onslaught from Ireland, and of course typified by Delaney at the top of the order. You must have been very excited with that, John.
Very excited, very impressed as well to see him being pushed up the order. Usually comes in around number 8, Gareth Delaney from Leinster Lightning, the 22-year-old, 52 off 27. Hit some delightful shots and didn't look out of place at all. Things have been changed in the Ireland T20 team over the last couple of years. They really have slipped down the rankings. Teams that have qualified previously for World Cups struggling to do so in the last while. Huge qualifying competition coming up for both of these teams in the T20s towards the end of the year. So this is a testing ground really for what Ireland will hope to do in those qualifiers, and indeed Scotland as well.
Indeed. And as you say, such an important part of international cricket now. Little baby bouncer there from Berrington, taking Balbirnie by surprise. But as you said earlier, John, really, it's a total Ireland should get reasonably handily now after that striking in the power play, which was immense.
These two look very comfortable out there. There'll be the nerves, of course, for young Harry Tector. End of 11, 132 for 2.
Well, it was interesting earlier on commentary. I was speaking with Andrew Leonard in this role that Gareth Delaney can play for Ireland. In a sense, if Sterling comes back into the side, it actually gives you an option that someone like Gareth Delaney, even if a wicket falls early, you can utilise that power play with the effect that he has done, whether he opens the batting or, you know, for argument's sake, Kevin O'Brien goes down to 3, but it's certainly going to give Graham Ford, the coach, some pleasant headaches to think about.
But Balbirnie will obviously be saying to himself that he's kind of locked in the number 3 position in all forms of the game, so he's going to stay there, you would think. And you think Sterling, maybe Kevin O'Brien will open the batting. Maybe it's Delaney at 4.
Well, it's going to be interesting because, again, obviously Harry Tector has gone to the crease. I saw a number of these trial games that they played, which Graham Ford found very useful. And Harry Tector was in supreme form in those particular trial games, batting at 4. He batted at 3 in those. And again, look at that from Balbirnie. He's just waited on that and looked at that area, which is the one really indefensible area you've got in a cricket field. He's just waited on that and just placed it over extra cover. Beautiful shot from Balbirnie, who's now into the 40s, John, of 22 deliveries.
Hamza Tahir from the Malahide Castle End. This time he swept. They should run 2 for a couple of singles, or for 2 I should say. Easily done so as well, but Ireland just picking out their spots. That was a beautiful shot though. He's cracked a few through extra cover and over extra cover in his innings so far, and he just moved serenely on to 43 off just 23. Tector at the other end on 12 not out. And there's another 4 down on one knee, swept to the mid-wicket boundary, and Ireland are getting these runs at ease now.
Well, Andrew Balbirnie has a lot of strong areas, but this is the area for me that he is just so destructive. He sweeps so well, and the big secret is he gets low, gets his head moving forward to the ball, and he's whacked that in front of square. Acres of ground out there that he can pick off. And Scotland now moving. Another fielder deep on the leg side, and really could see it with this type of hitting. Doesn't really know where to go. Fantastic stuff from Ireland.
Rather like the Scotland innings. So Ireland just pegged Scotland back when they took wickets at the right and vital points in the game. Scotland need wickets now. Swept away again by Balbirnie. There is a fielder down there. It does. I thought for a second that it actually cut it off, but Balbirnie moves on to 47. In fact, he's gone past his 50 with that shot onto 51. Andy Balbirnie off 26 deliveries, rather like Delaney did a run a ball or 2 runs a ball, gets to his 50 with another beautiful sweep shot.
Well, I did say it earlier, John, he's just a pleasure to watch when he's in this form, Andrew Balbirnie. Slow starter in international cricket, but no sign of that anymore.
Tries to catch it. I think it'd just be easier to stop. That's good fielding.
But the pleasing part there, Harry Tector looking for 2. 147 for 2 now. And the crowd acknowledging those statistics for Andrew Balbirnie. Fantastic innings so far. And I'm sure, John, he'll be wanting to be there at the end, bringing Ireland home, as will Harry Tector. Ideal time for him now to settle into international cricket. And with every level that he's played, he's done ever so well. Huge hunger and appetite. And such an exciting time for these players as Ireland move into a new era with their test match status series against Bangladesh and New Zealand next year. Licking our lips, John, for those. So wonderful times ahead for these young players.
Well, they had to change things up as Sadie Evans came in. Ireland didn't really look like they had any strength and depth for their T20 team. They used pretty much the same squad for the ODIs and the T20. And we've seen across the world, especially England, who started that trend really of getting 2 squads, led by Owen Morgan. Ireland need to do that. Bring the youngsters through, dispense with the old guard who served Ireland so well over the years. Let's come off the toe of the bat. Thinking about 2. No. That's good fielding by McLeod. This is the 3rd match of the GS Holding T20I series. Ireland v Scotland today. Tomorrow, Ireland back in action again against the Netherlands. 1:30 start here in Malahide local time. If you're around, it's free entry. Scotland against Netherlands, match 2 for them. Match 5 of the series, also 1:30 start on Thursday, and we wrap things up with Ireland against Scotland on Friday. Match 1 was abandoned without a ball being bowled on Sunday due to rain. Scotland hammered the Netherlands by 58 runs yesterday.
And no better time to be here. Cloudless skies here in Malahide. Lovely sprinkling of a crowd here, and of course you can come in here for nothing and enjoy the cricket here in late September. No better time to play, has been proved so many times. Lovely to be here, John.
46 needed. Might think about the second one, but that's gone straight to the fielder, and you're not going to chance that arm. Michael Leask is certainly the best of the Scottish fielders. They're just behind square mid-wicket. He's got a brilliant throw, very flat, and usually over the top of the stumps. Great run out yesterday as well against the Netherlands. Ireland just one shy now of the 150.
Good cricket there from Balbirnie, eking that one out, getting a run. Not a bad delivery from Ali Evans. But, Balbirnie equal to it. This is a useful stand now for Ireland. Over 50 between these pair. Tector playing a supporting role, doing well.
Yeah, 150 up for Ireland, 150 for 2. We're in the 13th over. 44 now needed for victory. No problem so far for Balbirnie indeed. Tector moves on to 14. It's a proud moment we mentioned for his family and for his dad and for YMCA and for you in particular, Alan, presenting him his cap before the start of play today.
Indeed. And again, Harry Tector coming through from, as we call it in cricketing terms, cradle to where he is now. Oh, and
there's no need to go looking for that. Well, you might have to, because it's gone an awful long way. Once again, just waited on that Balbirnie and cracked it away through the mid-wicket boundary, and that's gone for a maximum again, and Ireland pushing towards this target with relative ease now.
You don't bowl there to Andrew Balbirnie. And he was onto that like a light.
157 for 2 now. Balbirnie on to 60. Tector on to 14. Balbirnie's highest score is 83 in T20 internationals. Might fancy getting past that today. It's a wonderful batting wicket, but who'd be a bowler in T20 cricket these days?
Well, again, Ireland have just latched onto it from the word go, and they're absolutely sailing along here. And again, how did Andrew Balbirnie get that there? Fantastic shot. Slower ball from Evans wide. Balbirnie gave himself a bit of room here. You can see a little bit of room, but it's so wide, and he gets bat on that wide of square cover. And Ali Evans is left scratching his head there as Balbirnie puts another one to the boundary. Great batting this from Ireland.
Despairing dive from Mark Watt out on that boundary. Couldn't cut it off. That was an extraordinary shot. End of 13. Ireland 161 for 2. Balbirnie on 64. Tector on 14. Ireland just need 33 off the remaining 7 overs. And they've really dipped that run rate. It's now below 5 and over required.
Well, it's all but over. Really, at this stage, you'd be nearly wondering, would Andrew Leonard and Garfield Harrison be back for the conclusion of this match, John? 33 now required from 7 overs.
Might beat the traffic on the M50 yet.
Who knows, John? Who knows?
161 for 2 off 13 overs. Balbirnie on 64. With some really good knocks before that. Kevin O'Brien made 17. Gareth Delaney 52. Pushed up the order in the absence of Paul Sterling. Sterling not in the starting lineup today due to an injury, not a bad injury, just a niggle they're calling it, so they're not going to risk him in a T20I series like this ahead of the qualifiers. Hopefully we will see Paul before the week is out.
That's a great shot from Harry Tector.
Unbelievable shot.
He swatted that reverse pull. I haven't seen too many of those. I've seen switch hits, but I haven't seen a reverse pull yet. Fantastic from Tector, that.
Richie Barrington getting the treatment there. It must be very deflating to be a Scottish player at the moment when you see the ball disappearing to all parts of the boundaries with all sorts of extraordinary shots. That's a good comeback from Barrington, though. And Tector did well to dig that one out.
Well, good ball from Barrington. No reason to not play the ball defensively. Obviously, batters at this level, they're looking to guide the ball into a gap, but no run there. Good from Tector, that.
Punch down the ground for a single. And Tector obviously would have been nervous. Young guy, 19 years of age, coming out for his international debut in T20 cricket for Ireland, but he has got experience at A level, captains the A side. That's a lovely shot for no run, and that ends.
He's out because
he
he's
is
been
actually
caught
straight
by
at
Ali
him.
Evans.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot. I was actually looking for the ball to disappear to the boundary, but Berrington snatched that beautifully of his own bowling, and that's the end of Balbirnie for 64. I was actually looking beyond the bowler at that particular point to see the ball perhaps disappearing to the boundary, but good cotton ball from Berrington.
And Balbirnie will be disappointed there. You can see him leaving the field reasonably dejected, but he has no reason to be dejected. He's batted fantastically well for 64. And, there's no way we could have seen that going back to the bowler from our position here, John. Blocked, of course, by the umpire who's come to the offside, probably as a result of a dipping sun, a dipping September sun. We're not used to seeing the non-facing umpire in a position around cover point, but he is on this occasion because it is difficult with a setting sun here now on a gorgeous evening in Malahide.
Yeah, new batsman in as the captain, Gary Wilson, taking over that role from William Porterfield, and it's his responsibility now to rebuild Ireland as a T20 nation. Wilson wanted a quick single, but that's very good fielding.
And it's a good call from Tector. Obviously Wilson anxious to get off the mark. Very good piece of fielding that.
Just pushed it straight really to Ali Evans, but he prevents Wilson getting off the mark. 166 for 3. No problem with the run rates, below 5 and over, and Ireland still have wickets in hand. Gary Wilson does get off the mark with that punch down the ground.
Which brings us to the end of the 14th, John.
.167 for 3 after 14. Harry Tector on 19, joined by Gary Wilson after the dismissal of Andy Balbirnie for 64. Ireland now just needs 27 runs from the remaining 6 overs, and that should be easily got at this stage with wickets in hand. Hamza Tahir is coming on as another change of bowling at the Dublin Road end.
So really Ireland have batted so well here collectively today. Real intent and purpose from ball one. One or two gifts early on from Scotland. It's going to be interesting to see. Is there 2 here? And Tahir getting back did well there to prevent 2.
Gary Wilson, the captain of the Irish T20 team, plays for Northern Knights. Been around a long time now. Gary Wilson, 33 years of age. Best mates with William Porterfield. He's the 64th T20 international today. 1,142 runs. Highest score 65. Average just approaching 24. Good man to have come in at this stage of the innings.
That's a great shot from Harry Tector. Swept away on the offside, and a brilliant piece of fielding out there in the deep from Watt. Great work from him. Harry Tector slipping at the striker's end there.
Just about to say that. They were probably able to run through for 3, but Tector slipped.
Fantastic piece of fielding there by Watt in the deep.
Certainly safe too. Oh, and Tector's gone. Stumped, I think.
Stumped indeed. Cross getting the bails off as quick as you have seen, and that's the end of Harry Tector. Gone for 21. A well-made 21 from 15 deliveries. So he'll probably be a wee bit disappointed in not seeing that through, but you've got to keep going in this format of the game. Potentially no need to do so at this stage with only 24 required. And as we said, he'll be a little bit disappointed not to have done so, but he's done well on debut. Harry Tector gone for 21, and it brings Lorcan Tucker to the wicket. Again, another player who's come through the system, performed excellently at the Under-19 World Cup in Bangladesh, and smashing player in this format of the game as well.
It's his 10th T20 international, Lorcan Tucker. Very much part of the ODI squad now. High score 22. Excelled on the Ireland Wolves tour of Sri Lanka, scoring a century out there. But they're close to this target now. 6 wickets in hand. Shouldn't be any panic, you'd think, with 24 runs needed. Just over 5 and a bit overs to be bowled. But good performances from O'Brien 17, Delaney 52, Barney 64, and Harry Tector on debut making 21. Tucker tucks one off his legs, goes back for the second, and good running between this pair to turn 1 into 2.
One of the features of Lorcan Tucker's batting, he's very quick between the wickets, Lorcan Tucker, and the minute he saw that ball was wide of deep square leg, Sharif in the deep, not the quickest across the ground, he was back for 2 immediately.
A rare dot ball and a forward defensive shot by Tucker.
Ironic.
22 needed now.
That Garfield Harrison is at the back of the box saying a forward defensive. He hasn't seen one for 10 overs.
Last ball of the 15th over then. And they're just going to run through for a single. Wilson might look for a second here, but McLeod is quickly from the boundary to cut that off. So end of 15, and Ireland 173 for 4, remaining 5 overs if we get that far. Garfield Harrison and Andrew Leonard.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Alan. And rather remarkably, as JK just said, we might not even have these remaining 5 overs of the match, Garfield, because Ireland need just 21 more runs to win.
Incredible chase here from the Irish team. Really exciting to see such dynamic batting from such young, from such a young side. Don't forget, Paul Sterling's not in the side today, who is arguably our best batsman.
I think he's without doubt Ireland's best batsman, particularly over the last 18 to 24 months. But Andy Balbirnie is in the team, and he showed all his class.
Absolutely class. As I said earlier on, I hadn't seen Andrew playing T20 cricket, but he just taken to it like a duck to water there. He just absolute class shots over extra cover and giving himself room and just hitting it all round the wicket. Very hard to bowl at.
Lorcan Tucker in at 6 for Ireland. Just get a single down to third man. Let's take a look at the Scottish bowling figures so far. I don't make pretty reading at the moment, Garfield.
Wee bit surprised, Andrew, the Scottish bowling attack, because we haven't seen a lot of change deliveries. They haven't seen a lot of slower deliveries. We haven't seen any Yorkers. Everything's been much the same, and as anybody that plays cricket out there knows that it's, if you're a batter and you're in and the bowling's the same, it's all coming at the same pace in and around the same areas, it's easy, especially on a pitch like this and such a fast outfield. I would have thought we would have seen a lot more change-up deliveries, maybe going around the wicket, bowling wide of the crease, slower balls, knuckle balls, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Richie Barrington, the only one with any respectability in his figures. And Lorcan Tucker tries to ruin that by heaving it into the leg side, and it's going to fly right into the deep. A really good piece of work. I think that's Mark Watt right out at deep square leg, who's managed to save the boundary. It looked certain to be a 1-bounce 4, but he's flicked it back in and kept it to just 2 runs.
Yes, great bit of fielding there, and definitely 2 runs saved. And but Scotland will need to regroup now, after today, and they play Ireland again on Friday, and that you would imagine will be the decider as to who wins the tournament. Ireland now only needs 17 runs now off 4.3 overs, so it should be a dawdle from here.
They'll be looking to get over the line without any further damage. Tucker and Wilson looking for red ink. Really well bowled by Barrington, using all his experience, getting the keeper up to the stumps, just cramping Tucker for room. Inside edge saves his wicket, but they'll get through for a single.
There you go, there's the Yorker. Never disappoints, the Yorker. If you can get it right, it's a very, very hard ball to keep out and to score runs off. And I'm just surprised that we haven't seen more of that from the Scottish attack today.
Really good work from Barrington off his own bowling again. We saw him take a brilliant catch, diving away to his left off his own bowling. He'll have been so disappointed to drop Kevin O'Brien early, but look at the reaction time here from Barrington.
Great bit of fielding off your own bowling, but Andrew, you know yourself, you always fielded well off your own bowling. Do you ever drop any catches ever off your own bowling? I'm sure you didn't.
Absolutely not, particularly myself being a spin bowler. Gotta have those reactions in your follow through, but Barrington with his medium pacer is really good, athletically getting down to his left there. Cut away by Wilson, that's where he likes it, that's where he's strong. There's going to be a chase on for Munsey, who'll drag it in just before the rope. They'll come back for two. Good work from the Irish captain.
Yes, keeping the board ticking over very nicely. Gary Wilson, he'll be absolutely delighted today with his team performance, and I'm sure now go into tomorrow's game with a lot of confidence, and the weather's set fair, so hopefully we'll have some more great entertainment tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, that's the end of the 16th over. 180 for 4. Four overs remain in the Irish chase, and as you can see at the bottom of your screen, Ireland remarkably require just 14 to win. We were talking a little bit off air there, Garfield, about what a par score was on this, and we spoke maybe about it being around 200, but it looks like 200 is going to be significantly under par.
Yeah, I mean, I must say earlier on I thought, maybe sort of 180, 190, maybe 200 would have been a par score, but, the way the guys have batted today on both sides, it's really been a surprise. And again, I've said it again, great credit to the ground staff here at Malahide in producing such a great spectacle. Mark Watt into the attack, his slow left arm from the Dublin road end, and just 3.5 required and over. Both batsmen probably going to take a little bit of time in the middle here. Another forward defence. I think that's 2 today I've seen, which will please some people I used to play with. Reverse sweep from Lorcan Tucker, and he does not look happy with the decision that's given out. I heard 2 noises. I wonder, was there an under edge? But he's been given out LBW. Yeah, certainly from Tucker's point of view, I think he thinks he's hit this, and we'll see it on the replay. Yeah, it could possibly have been a bottom edge onto the pad, but Alan Neil, no hesitation and getting the finger up and giving him out. So it'll be disappointing for Tucker, but listen, tomorrow's another day. There was clearly 2 noises there, and it looked even on the replay perhaps like a slight deflection onto the front pad, but Alan Neil felt that it struck the pad first, giving it out. LBW, the second wicket for Watt. Tucker has to go. A short stay at the crease for him. He goes for just 7. Yes, we'll have to have a word with Heatley to see if we can get the old Snicko involved, and I'm sure young Tucker, he'll be keen to see the Snicko after that one. But listen, disappointing, but again, as I say, tomorrow's another day, and I know he'll do a lot better then. Yeah, going to bring Shane Getgate to the crease at number 7 for Ireland, and remarkable to think some of the power hitting talent of Shane Getgate and even Mark Adair still to come. This is down at number 7 and 8. Is this why it's such an exciting Irish T20 side? Absolutely. I mean, you just, the depth goes right the way to, right the way down to number 11 here. But the power hitters now, this is the real engine room here now, 7 and 8, and these guys have no hesitation here in clearing the boundaries. So maybe we'll see. Although only 14 needed, you might see the odd big shot.
Slower that time through the air, and a little bit of turn for Mark Watt, something we might see throughout the rest of the week.
He's done that a couple of times now, Andrew. He's bowled that one there off 25 yards. And certainly, he's mixing it up, and I think you need to mix it up as the bowlers. The bowlers are going to have to fight back here because the batters are just on top too much. Bowlers are going to have to find a way of getting back into the game.
Reverse sweep from Wilson, and he gets that one way away effectively. Ollie Hares is going to chase in vain up the hill towards the slight ramp we have in the outfield there. That's really good batting. Gary Wilson loves the reverse sweep. He's pulled it off very well there.
That's called the reverse sweep dab. The skill that you need to do to play a shot like that, and the practice and hours of practice. It's amazing technique, and great credit to Gary for showing us that one today.
Glorious batting from Ireland's captain Gary Wilson. He's shown the reverse sweep dab, and that's the more conventional, hardly struck, powerfully struck reverse sweep. Back-to-back boundaries for Gary Wilson.
All the way along the ground too, Gary. He's not taking any risks, and he obviously plays that shot really well. And again, what's the bowler going to do? I mean, he's still bowling round the wicket. Why not bowl one over the wicket and see what happens and try and cramp him up a wee bit more? He's just, they seem to be just letting this all happen.
Gary Wilson has come down the track, and he's chipped that straight into the hands of Kyle Coates at mid-wicket. The opposite number, that delivery slower through the air. Wilson looked to come down the track, looked for the big one to finish it, but he could only pick out his opposite number at short mid-wicket.
Yeah, he was disappointed, Gary, at that because, those last two shots there, played them beautifully, and then he's just got this one off the inside edge a wee bit. He meant to hit it a lot straighter than it ended up, and he's picked out the Scottish captain there at mid-wicket. So he's a bit disappointed at that, but then pleased that, still a very commanding performance from this Irish side.
Yeah, the margin of victory for Ireland, if they can get across the line here, is probably only going to be 4, maybe even 3 wickets. Perhaps doesn't tell the full story of the day. And Gary Wilson will walk off just perhaps a little bit disappointed. 4 soft wickets late in this chase for Ireland. Not what he would have wanted. He would have wanted to chase this total down, 2 or 3 down. And I was actually looking at Andy Balbirnie as he walked off. He sat distraught for a really long period of time, despite the fact he batted so brilliantly for his 64 off 32 deliveries. He was gutted to have left his side short and not seen them home.
Well, I mean, as a batter, as a key batter in the side, that's what you want to do. You want to be there at the end and see it home, and you want to not out, because that looks good on the averages as well. And these guys, believe me, they are looking at their averages as well. But the game was won after the first 10 overs today with the Irish batting. So yes, listen, few things. It's not a perfect start for this young T20 team, but still commanding performance. And we still, 5 runs with 3 overs to go. So, that's a very convincing victory.
Yeah, should be plenty of balls left for Ireland in this chase, unless Scotland can pull off something miraculous. Good reward, though, for Mark Watt. I spoke yesterday about how he's Scotland's leading T20I bowler these days, really, and he ends up with 3 for 38 from his 4 overs on a day that's been very difficult for the Scottish bowlers, himself and Barrington, the two to really emerge with some credit.
Well, Mark Watt has varied his bowling more than any of the other Scottish bowlers, and he has bowled a few off 25 yards. He's held a couple back. He held that one back for Gary Wilson, got the wicket. So, it just shows that the bowlers, you have to change it. Every ball, it has to be different from the previous ball. If you keep bowling the same balls, Andrew, ball after ball, these guys are good enough that it's going to disappear.
Safian Sharif back into the attack from the Malahide Castle end. He's bowling to Shane Getgate. Mark Adair at the non-striker's end. I can guarantee you something, that if Shane Getgate gets a single here, Mark Adair will be looking to finish it in one strike. 17 deliveries remain. Scotland need 4 wickets. Really well bowled from Sharif. That is the single. It's going to bring Mark Adair onto strike. Will this all finish in one delivery?
Well, yeah, we know the guy, and we're quite confident that he will try and do that. But then, I still think that Ireland wouldn't want to lose any more wickets at this, and he'd probably recognise that. And the sensible thing would be to see it out and just knock it for a single, and 4 singles, and we'll win the game. So that would be the sensible approach. Maybe these young lads aren't just as sensible as maybe we were in our day.
Mark Adair made his one-day international debut this very ground against England earlier in the summer. A sparkling cameo, 30-odd before becoming Jofra Archer's first international wicket. Mark Adair tries to finish it, but good bowling from Sharif, the in-swinging Yorker. Adair finds the inside edge onto the pad, dot ball.
Yes, and Sharif, he's getting the ball to swing in and tail in slightly into the pads, into the right-hander, and that's a difficult ball for the batters to hit, especially when it's your first ball of the innings. So Mark has done well there to keep that ball out, and hopefully he'll be able to survive this and go on and see us home safely.
Full toss hit over the offside, and Mark Adair won't finish it at 1 ball. He's going to take 2. But that's all she wrote for Scotland today. They're going to come out on the losing side. Ireland, they're going to win by 4 wickets. And in fact, we're just checking the score. The umpires are having to think about it. And they've decided that is indeed the winning total. And a little high five between Adair and Getgate. They've got the job done. They win by 4 wickets. But with 14 deliveries to spare, it's been a very comprehensive win for an exciting Irish side.
Very comfortable victory from the Irish lads. We bit disappointed the last few overs where we lost a couple of wickets cheaply, but listen, don't take anything away. Gareth Delaney got us off to a great start. Kevin O'Brien, he'll be gutted, and I mean, I'm quite sure that tomorrow someone will suffer because of Kevin O'Brien's failure today. So, and then possibly Paul Stirling to come back into the side if he's shaking off this little niggle. Very exciting time for this Irish team, and I'm sure Graham Ford and Gary Wilson will just be absolutely thrilled with the performance today.
Warm handshakes between the two sides here as Scotland depart the pitch. Ireland have had the wood over Scotland in recent years, particularly the last decade or so. Used to be the other way around. Perhaps back in your day, Scotland seemed to have the wood over Ireland, but over the last decade or so, Ireland's run against Scotland has been really formidable. Continues today, a 4-wicket win, and in fact a record falls, because that is Ireland's highest ever successful T20 international chase. Not the highest they've ever made in an innings, but it's their highest ever chase, batting second. So real delight for Graham Ford, Gary Wilson and all his troops.
Yes, comfortable victory in the end for Ireland, and some great performances today. Things to improve on, of course there is, and it's not a perfect performance, and you wouldn't expect that even for the first T20 game of the series, but lots to work on. Tomorrow's another day, and I'm sure the Irish bowlers tomorrow will be looking to big improvement on how things went today. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the fireworks tomorrow.
Yeah, Ireland-Netherlands tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. and perhaps Paul Stirling to come back into this side as well. So I've no doubt we're going to see more high scores here at Malahide. That's the Irish batting card. Andrew Balbirnie, the top scorer, with 64 off 32. But Gareth Delaney, how he took his opportunity. Paul Stirling not playing today. Delaney goes up to the top of the order. A maiden international 50 for him.
Well, this is it. It just shows the depth now that we have here in our T20 squad, when Gareth Delaney can step in for our best player, which is Paul Stirling, and come up with 52 runs off 28 deliveries. Everybody be thrilled with that, especially Paul Stirling, because I think it's important that all of the guys are being pushed for their places in the side, and even the senior players are being pushed, and I think that lifts everyone's level to improves the team, improves their performance. And listen, Ireland will go now from strength to strength. Scotland a wee bit to work on, certainly on the bowling side.
Yeah, there's those Scottish bowling figures, and not a huge amount of pleasure for the Scottish fans there. 3 wickets from Mark Watt and a really good spell from Richie Berrington. But as you can see, an awful lot of those wickets, they fell late in the day. Ireland were 166 for 2 at one point, and looking like they were going to complete that chase in absolutely no time. Let's take a look at the points table if we can. They should have updated here, and what it's going to show is the hosts Ireland. They move to the top of the table, and that's where they're going to want to stay throughout the rest of this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series, Garfield.
Absolutely. Now, so, tomorrow now we can look forward to the Ireland versus the Netherlands, as Andrew said, starting at 1:30. Hope all the viewers out there will tune into that one. And, if Ireland can play anything like they played today, I'm sure it will be another convincing victory. But I expect the Dutch team tomorrow to come back fighting, and they will have learnt a lot from their game yesterday. So it should be a fascinating game here tomorrow.
That's the match summary. Ireland winners by 4 wickets, predominantly thanks to the efforts of Andy Balbirnie and Gareth Delaney. Both half-centuries coming from the Leinster Lightning men in imperious fashion. Really good knocks on what's been a glorious day. The weather is set fair for tomorrow. It's a 1:30 p.m. start for Game 4 of the GS Holding T20 International Tri-Series. We're going to be bringing you every ball again, and we'll look forward to seeing you then.